That's a tiny. Yeah.
Well, I saw that. Oh. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
Thank you for all the map
We have
notes.
to see.
my husband's sorry.
And we're driving the streets.
A loud one.
Oh, no. Carries. Okay, good evening. We're gonna get started.
We could talk later about that.
Okay, you tell me when you're ready. Ready. Okay, good evening and welcome to a regular town board meeting of the Ulysses Town Board. I will call this meeting to order at 7:07 PM on May 26, 2026. May I please have a roll call?
Yes, you may. Mr. Manley,
Here.
Ms. Olson,
Present.
Mr. Boggs,
Present.
Ms. Weatherby.
Present.
Excellent. We have a agenda that was posted. Does anybody have any other additions they want to see added to it? Or subtracted from?
Move to approve as presented.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
All right,
Aye.
Okay. Okay. Brings us to privilege of the floor. So we will be having opening a public hearing on the comp plan. So if you're here to talk about that, you'll have your 3 minutes there. But if there's anything else you wish to address the town board on, we're happy to hear you. You can have up to 3 minutes. We'll go back and forth in the room and then online. If you are online, you can raise your hand with a little icon. You can come on video and raise your hand. You can come off mute. Please identify yourself and your address. And when you start speaking is when I will start your timer. Okay, so is there anybody in the room who wishes to address the town board and privilege of the floor? Please go ahead.
Am I supposed to stand over here behind the bus? Yes, please.
Okay. I'm Rebecca Schneider, 5630 Pine Ridge Road, Trumansburg. I reviewed the draft Ulysses comprehensive plan. I appreciate the considerable work that was done to create a 268-page document, incredibly long, as well as the effort both to engage the public and to report their feedback. I really did appreciate seeing that in there. I have several concerns, 3 main points about the draft comp plan in its current form. Number 1, Section 7 discusses the importance of the natural resources and the environment, including its value to our citizens as reported during the public interviews. However, the description lists the primary values as, quote, being cherished by the community, the scenic beauty, its value for drinking water and wildlife habitat, unquote. This assessment as written strongly undersells and under-acknowledges the critical role and underpinning that the natural resources are playing to our economic viability, both for agriculture and ecotourism. The water, soil, and vegetative communities need explicit strategies laid out to ensure the protection, and there's insufficient guidance and recommendations to this. The goals and activities are mainly like education, communication. As one example, the paragraph on topography just mentions that steep slopes occur along the lakefront. In reality, slopes are much steeper than 3%, extensive throughout the eastern border of the town as well as along the creeks. These slopes are only protected from massive erosion, gullies, and associated sediment pollution in the lake by the presence of contiguous tree cover. It's the forest canopy that slows down rainfall and the roots which bind the entire soil in place. Given the increase in torrential downpours already occurring, it's critical that these areas be maintained in a vegetated form and development discouraged. One reason for the original creation of the conservation zone was to help protect the steep slopes from erosion, and the proposed narrowing of this zone will have severe negative effects. More explicit rules are needed. Point 2. Land use and rural issue sections list various evidence for the importance of agriculture to Ulysses, laying out first the Ag and Farmland Protection Plan in 2013, which recognized the threat of conversion due to development pressure. Then the Tompkins County identifying Ulysses as an agricultural resource focus area for protection, and the Ulysses resident surveys, which identify concerns about development pressures. The comp plan also states on page 199 that Ulysses is almost completely covered by prime agricultural soils, even if drained. The uniqueness of having such prime agricultural soils is not fully appreciated. You all don't get. We are unique in the country for having the perfect place to grow food. All right. And it has a great, incredible economic value to the town, both now and in the near future and the long term. As other parts of the state and country, now the entire Southeast, are succumbing to extreme temperatures and drought, Ulysses will become the refuge for the farming industry, a critical food production area, and it's critical that they become the top priority for the town. Therefore, the proposed housing plan for medium density housing to replace large portions of our prime ag lands, Cold Springs Road, e.g. Cold Springs Road, Perry City Road, etc., are a direct threat to these prime agricultural slopes. A more careful study of how much housing is needed, where best to locate it, is strongly needed, and perhaps we should do this in conjunction with Tompkins County and think about other places for housing. Number 3, the new New York State DEC wetland regulations protect existing map wetlands in the town and provide a mechanism to map other wetlands and expand the buffer width from 100 to 300 feet, which is amazing and unheard of, shocking. These regs will impact any future development plans, and a comprehensive mapping study, including comparison with the Tompkins County wetlands map, should be undertaken. In sum, the importance of natural resources and environment is effectively given lip service in this document and is put aside or in conflict with what they're proposing for housing and infrastructure. Instead, natural resources and environment need to be treated as the foundation and guiding principle for all the planning. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You had about 45 seconds over.
Oh,
So
I'm very
if we
sorry.
if we add extra time, I'll just subtract that from the additional time we offered.
All right,
Last
I'm
time,
sorry.
no, it's fine.
Thank you.
And I say that only because I want to make sure everybody is fair. It's not fair to cut somebody off at 3 minutes
Yep.
and someone else at a different time. So
Very-
want to make sure everybody, nope, so no problem. Okay, is there anybody online who wishes to address us?
Somebody online.
Oh, please go ahead and identify yourself.
Hey, my name's Anissa Mendizabal. I live at 36 Washington Street in Shermansburg Village. I really appreciated some of the comments of the person commenting before me. I just really wanted to state my support for the housing element of the plan. I think it's really important to continue to build housing. It's always going to be a need, and I think with proper planning, that all the necessary, we can. I'm at a loss for words suddenly because I didn't write out my thoughts. That all of the uses that are intended in the plan can be supported with proper planning. So I really want to say that housing is very important because population is growing, and not just in our community, but everywhere. We need to do our part, and I'm especially supportive of affordable housing and multiple units on one site. So that's all.
Thank you for your comments. Okay. Is there anybody in the room who wishes to address the town board?
But this isn't a question, just is this, because these are kind of for the public hearing for the comp plan, are they gonna get included into the comp plan public hearing?
Well,
I mean, are we doing one or the other? It just seems like it would be good to.
I did say, if
Now
you-
we can talk now.
so we are still in privilege of the floor, which is why I said if you have public comments, it'd be great to get them in the public hearing portion of it. But I'm not gonna stop you from talking about the comp plan in the privilege of the floor.
So those will still count.
Yeah.
Comments.
So I actually misspoke. So you lost 45 minutes of your privilege of the floor maybe in the future, which doesn't actually count for anything. So you still have 3 minutes, Rebecca, in the comp or in the public hearing. So
Wait, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that. Do you want me to repeat it for next?
no,
time?
you can if you want to, but you don't need to.
They're there for the comment.
Yes,
Thanks.
yes, but you're welcome to actually take 3 minutes in the public hearing as well, if you would like.
That's right. Sounds good.
Okay.
We got them via email.
Okay, is there anybody who wishes to address the town board in privilege of the floor
Some period of time.
for some period? Hopefully under 4 minutes.
I'd like to talk, and there is a message I'd like to get across. Later on in the public hearing, I am going to be speaking in my role as a worker in Ulysses. Because
Sorry, it's a third timer. Would you mind
Chris Kale,
Thank you.
3110 Du Bois Road.
got it.
So the comments I plan to make later in the public hearing component are in my role as a worker in Ulysses. I have at this point about 44 hours a week of work scheduled on a regular basis, and all of that is in my attempt to kind of shrink my carbon footprint a little bit in what you would call the Trumansburg economic area. I think, some's a little over the line into Enfield, but Trumansburg address. So one of the things that I'm really interested in as we continue to make great progress with our new state park is whether and to what extent our economic development policy as a town can be collaborative and cooperative with the village and the town of Culver. I really feel like done well, a local development corporation has the capacity to help to keep the way jobs happen different from the, what is in the comp plan, which is looking at a larger labor market area, including Binghamton and so on. But the people who live here, being the people who live here, a lot of us do want to try to shrink our carbon footprint some. And part of how we do that is having jobs closer to home, whether that's, the guy I work for who has a patent that's important for MRI machinery, or whether that's, I think somebody down on the lake may be getting royalties for a farm ad on TV right now. But there's a lot of people who, for one way or another, are able to make their living from Ulysses, and I would like the LDC to understand that, because I think it's also the case for Culver and Trumansburg. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to address the town board and privilege of the floor? Oh, sorry. Okay, then we will move on to the public hearing that we are reopening. I will move to reopen the public hearing on the comprehensive plan draft 2025 to 2045. I have a second. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Would be to untable it.
No, so I moved to untable
Second.
instead of reopen. Okay, friendly amendment. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Thank you. Thank you, Carissa. Okay, I wasn't the chair for the comp plan meeting, so apparently I've set a timer for myself, sorry. Okay, having timer challenges tonight. Okay, let's go with the public hearing. Is there anybody in person who wishes to address the town board as part of the public hearing? I'm gonna give you, so the plan is, I'm gonna give you 3 minutes, and if you run over, I'm not gonna shut you down immediately, even though you'll hear my timer. But I will keep track of how long it is. And then if we have another round, like last time we did another round and it added on 2 minutes, everybody else can have the same amount. I just want to try and have parity so that someone doesn't feel like they were short shifted in the amount of time they were granted. So let's go with someone in the room. Anyone in the room? Okay, please go ahead.
Hi, Roxanne Marino, 4124 Reynolds Road, Trumansburg. I appreciate the continuation of the public hearing and the opportunity to speak and share thoughts on the draft Ulysses Comprehensive Plan 2045 with the board. I was a member of the Comprehensive Plan Steering Committee, as you know, and I appreciate the amount of work that was done on this draft and that the committee took into consideration the comments made by the public in making edits to the draft document and the future land use map presented to us by the consultants. I continue to have concerns with the draft plan before the board. In my 3 minutes here, I'm just going to raise some points. I have submitted more fully elaborated set of comments that build on these in writing for the town board's consideration. First, the large increase in the area of land designated to accommodate housing at medium density scale remains a significant concern to me, particularly the number of larger lots in either current agricultural use or suitable for it and located in a New York State Agricultural District, Tompkins County Agriculture District 2. Agriculture was considered very important in the 2009 plan and remains a key feature of value to residents in this updated draft. We have water here, we have good soils, as you heard from Rebecca Schneider say. With climate change, there's going to be many stresses on agriculture in the future all around the country, and our area should protect and value these significant environmental resources. Preserve farmland now and for future generations is a goal of the plan. This large area of medium density residential with no detailed analysis in support of the need for such a large potential increase in development density in specific areas that would take land out of designation of priority agriculture with rural residential is in direct conflict with this. Please consider the draft plan could be passed with a much reduced MDR area targeted to where there are currently existing water and transportation services, and then look at updating the future land use map after a detailed housing study. This would help to avoid a zoning change that could produce more sprawl and higher costs for services than an increase in the desired types of housing in alignment with the comp plan. Yes, we need more housing, particularly certain types, as the plan discusses. I support this. Tompkins County is doing an updated housing study countywide right now, and so Ulysses has a great opportunity to collaborate and get help with gathering much of that needed data in a cost-effective manner. In addition, rather than rushing to adopt this draft plan in order to apply for a grant in July to do a housing study, the town could evaluate using some town funds towards starting that work this year, along with Tompkins County if needed, and apply for a grant next year. A significant environmental concern is with some of the areas designated for MDR in both the western half of the town and near Teganic Creek and Teganic Falls State Park that are in areas currently designated as 100-year flood zones. Revised estimates of such floods are likely to occur in the future with climate change every decade or perhaps even less. This is an important area for future concern for climate impacts and the need for resiliency. Please consider this issue carefully and consider revising the future land use map to make these areas agricultural and natural resource lands. Many already are in the ag district, or in some places perhaps resource conservation. Regarding the secret process, I urge the town board to do a fully considered environmental impact analysis after taking the time needed to adequately consider and analyze all of the public comments, and for the board members to carefully review the full 547-page document, as there is relevant information in the appendices. The town board considered doing a more broad-based generic environmental impact statement early on in the process with the consultant, but it would have added roughly $60,000 to the cost. And it was proposed before we had a sense of the scope of change in the updated plan relative to the current one. The board investigated it and decided to wait until further along in the process to learn more and consider the implications and value of a GIEIS, and so whether it was needed. Given the large proposed changes in the future land use designations and associated potential growth-inducing impacts of the current draft plan, perhaps this should be reconsidered. The executive summary, phase 6, includes that the town will send the draft plan to the New York State Ag and Markets with a request for review, which is discretionary in the adoption process, but will provide valuable input, given that much of Ulysses is in a New York State Ag district, and Ag and Markets laws governing local land use regulations will be applicable to any zoning changes. Has the town sent the request to Ag and Markets, and if so, is the response document available to the public? And if not, will it be posted? That's just a question. The board voted to pass the current draft plan onto Tompkins County Planning and Sustainability for the required 239 review. Just wondering if that's been received yet and if that will be made available to the public. And lastly, I request that the board consider making available another opportunity for public comment as you work through the secret process to a final EIS, and have the Tompkins County and Ag and Markets requested reviews to consider before finalizing a plan for a vote on adoption. Thank you for your work and for your consideration of these comments.
We took your full 2 minutes.
Oh, my full extra 2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I took a timer on that one. You have
Okay.
1 minute and 1.5 seconds left. So,
Okay.
okay. Let's see. Give me just a sec. Okay. Okay, is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board? Okay, back to the room. Anybody in person who wishes to address the town board? Please go ahead.
Appreciate you taking comments. I'm Chris Kale from 3110 Du Bois Road. Wanted to talk today, though, in my role, not as a resident and landowner, but as a worker in the town, and also the owner of, I guess, what you would call a micro business or side hustle, but they're common. Land-based, so kind of connected to the agriculture. But I'm again hoping that we're going to be careful in how we apply planning to changes in land use. There are a lot of existing businesses. Caitlin, I love your idea of possibly transmuting the current town board defined zoning districts that are the development districts to a category of legacy business. One thing, of course, is that we do have a lot of legacy businesses. A lot of them are agricultural. So, you know, if we're going to have that kind of a designation, it might be good to think about, you know, who belongs in that category. I think we tend to notice the retail because, you know, there's a lot of people, and of course, you do need to plan for retail differently. But there are also a lot of wholesale and artistic businesses and people who may be managing businesses from home offices. It's just really prevalent in the town. And I think it's important to take some of that into consideration if there's going to be special recognition of certain kinds. One of the places I work where I do grounds maintenance is actually has been an employer in the community for, I believe, 30 years. And has ongoing patents that, you know, will continue to go into the future. So, you know, I think we don't really have a good handle on what the businesses are who are here. You know, some of the folks belong to the Trumansburg Chamber of Commerce, but again, that tends to be more retail. Some of them don't. The other thing is that the nature of some of our housing here, particularly along the lake, is actually a large generator of employment. Those kinds of places require a lot of upkeep. Some of them are also being rented some of the time. So there's a lot of activity around that. And of course, we've now seen some change in how the Airbnbs are being regulated in the city of Ithaca and town of Ithaca proper. And that very well may have some impact on us. So I'm, you know, overall hoping that as the town board goes forward, planning for people who work here in the town will be taken into consideration. I know for a fact that Mama Said Cafe has been just like a godsend for those of us who work in that part of the town because there really isn't much else. I mean, there's Marabito, but it's a gas station. Actually, the gas station is important too, as far as that goes. But those neighborhood services are going to be continue to be pretty important for maintaining people actively working in the township. And, you know, all of it brings in sales tax dollars because the alternative is that people have to run down to Ithaca or something like that. So the other thing about people working here that I think is worth considering in the planning going forward is that we do have a fantastic bike trail and we do have a really spectacular tourism economy, and those two things can go together and really grow things. Some of our roadways, like the road I live on, Du Bois Road, really excellent for cyclists. That's definitely something that I would be really interested in, again, taking our park resources into account. Perry City Road is a straight shot to the National Forest, and it's not a bad bike ride. there's really some things that we can do around the agritourism and ecotourism space. And of course, I got my farm worker shirt on, my uniform for doing Finger Lakes Farm Share. And was pretty difficult spring. It's very good that we have the hub of collaboration between fruit growers throughout the Finger Lakes region, headquartered right here in Ulysses. Fantastic that we have regional access, same thing, delivering farm fresh food all around the state and to other states. And again, headquartered right here. It'd be nice to keep that farmland intact so we can continue to have a agritourism / ecotourism cluster of development. And it would be super fantastic to have more jobs like the ones I enjoy. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, you went about 3 minutes and 16 seconds over, so,
Ooh, sorry.
it's okay. So Roxanne, you could have another minute and 17 seconds or 18 seconds if you want on the other side. Yes, another minute and 18 seconds.
Sorry.
Always happy to hear from you. Is there anybody online who wishes to address the town board? You can have 6 minutes and 16 seconds, so if you haven't taken any time,
All thanks to Michelle.
No, Chris
Chris.
Chris got it, yes.
Chris.
Anybody else who wishes to speak before I reopen it to let Roxanne have her minute and, okay, just go ahead, Sarah. Sure. Oh, I call him Sarah first.
Yes.
Good evening, Sarah Adams, 4 Cold Street. As you all know, I've spoken many other times. I wanted to try to clarify something. I noticed that when the draft comprehensive plan came out in the appendices, people who spoke were not identified by name or address, even though we all identify ourselves, obviously. And and then whatever was said was just sort of quote summarized. I don't know who did the summary. I assumed that whatever people said would be kind of verbatim. But I'm hoping that at least in this public hearing, people who just speak but don't necessarily submit a written comment are also identified, and that whatever they say is provided verbatim rather than a summary from somebody else. So that's just a request of mine. I also wanted to read a letter that was submitted by Regina Piscocki, who couldn't be here tonight because of work. And she asked me if I could read it. I know you all have gotten a hard copy of it. Dear Town of Ulysses Board, I have several concerns regarding the comprehensive plan as it stands for 2020-45. First and foremost, development versus preservation. A dramatic shift from the 2009 plan is the huge amount of higher and medium density residential development, ignoring the danger to critical environmental areas like the lakeshore and conservation zones and the vital natural resources of water and habitat. What does all of this development do to the tax rate, and at what cost to the beauty that makes our area a haven? In reviewing public feedback to the questionnaire sent out to residents of all of Ulysses, it is clear that while housing need is a concern, the public preference for preserving agricultural and small town feel was quite a bit stronger. The comprehensive 2045 plan proposes medium density residential in some areas that do not have at present public and water and sewage. Maybe concentrating on the areas with these amenities and others like public transportation already would be prudent. Infrastructure concerns clearly valid due to a bridge being closed by the County in one of those proposed areas on Podunk Road include increased traffic on South Street Extension, which appears to be disintegrating into the natural gorge formed by Taganic Creek. Finally, I feel like more should be done to accommodate and promote small-scale food production for our community, and all of this growth and building on farmland does just the opposite. Respectfully yours, Margaret Regina Prustaki, Cold Springs Road. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Sarah, you can have up to 3 more minutes if you have anything else you want to say. After anybody new. Helen. Oh, sorry, Shirley raised her hand. Sorry. I'm going to go back and forth. Go ahead, Shirley.
Hi, thanks. Hi, guys. Sorry I'm not with you. I'm not well, so I decided to keep my germs with me here at home. The thing that I would like to propose or to bring into conversation is the idea of including in the comprehensive plan. So this is like we're thinking about there's the development that's pushing into the farmlands, which people have been speaking about, and then there's the need for housing. And how do we protect the land, the water, the resources? And I'm wondering if there's a way in which we could bring into the zoning for the plan something that encourages the development from a perspective of permaculture. So I did a lot of reading and looking. I got some books. I started, researching it. And, because I thought permaculture just meant growing some vegetables. It's not that. It really is it's really more of a cultural shift where what is being done on the land, the houses that are built, the way the sewer is, the way the land is utilized, that it's being done in a way where it gives back to the land. It protects the water, it nurtures the soil, and it would be the kind of development that if it were up against a farmland, for example, that it would not take away from the farmland, but actually could be a benefit to the farmland. There's a organization in the Seattle and Washington state where they've done exactly that. There's also I look to see, is there a municipality somewhere in the United States who's actually put this into their comprehensive plan? And there are 3 places. One is in Vermont, one is in Maine, and the other is in Washington state. And it's kind of like leading edge thinking to think about that being in a comprehensive plan. But it seems to me that given what we're pushing up against is this need for housing, and then there's also a very strong need for the protection of the natural resources, those 2 things kind of pushing up against one another, which is what we keep hearing and we keep on talking about, is that this could possibly be a way to utilize or to bring in a density of housing, a medium density housing, and it could even be a little bit more density of housing. If you think about Eco-Village is the one that's near here in Ithaca, and I'm not saying that we do another Eco-Village, but that's an example of a permaculture village. Doesn't have to be designed like that, doesn't have to be done like that. But the ones that I was reading about, the one in particular in Washington state, it was on 200 acres and only 15% of the land had housing on it. And it was a community. There was there were gardens where people were growing food. It was a particular environment, a particular community space, which would, by the way, be a fantastic thing for people like myself or others who someday, well, I'm not thinking about it right now, by the way, about that where we might want to downsize or move into a place where there's a community near us and there's a community center. So it seems to me that instead of it's kind of like thinking outside of the box a little bit, a way to take care of both of those needs and not have it be that we can only have one or the other. And I'm not an expert on this by any means. Every time I've stood up to speak to you guys, I've let you know that I'm not an expert in anything that I've talked about, but I'm curious and I want to learn. And so I'm studying and I'm finding out and who else is doing it and who could actually consult with us. I know there are people up at Cornell that is their work. That's their line of work. That's what they teach. There are experts in the community that are in the area that could assist with something of this nature. And it could be that then it changes the map in a completely different way. I don't know what the ramifications of the idea would be, but I just want to bring it up onto the floor, bring it into into the conversation, because I think, how do we do this? How do we do it? How do we manage both issues, caring for the land and having there be housing for people? And it just seemed to me like it was definitely a viable thing to at least seriously explore and look into, because it could resolve issues that seem almost, somewhat seem insurmountable. That's it. That's my word.
Thank you. You went over 5 minutes,
Wow.
so if you choose to speak, you have 1 more minute.
I went 8 minutes total.
No, you went 5 minutes. You had 3.
Oh, okay. Thank you for
So
letting me.
And then there's an extra.
I think I'm done, but
Yeah.
thanks. Appreciate it.
I have 5 children. I make sure things are fair
I know
once I
you
hear
do.
about it.
Very good. I like that.
You guys are a piece of cake in comparison. Okay, thank you, Shirley. I appreciate it. Is there anybody, Helen, you were up next, so I'm just gonna call you before I ask anybody else.
I promise not to take too long.
You can have 6 minutes and like 18 seconds, so how about it, Helen?
So, hi, I'm Helen McClellan, 8120 Route 227, one of my residences. I'd like to start with recognizing the considerable time and effort that first the committee.
Speak up a little, we can't hear you.
I'd like to start with recognizing the considerable time and effort first the committee and now the town board has put into this draft comprehensive plan. My comments tonight are not about substance. Others have spoken to this and previous meetings, and there are some of those points that I certainly agree with. What I'm addressing is the need for clear and accurate language and presentation, which will aid the town in effectively and equitably implementing the eventual plan. Like any similar document that is drafted by a committee with many revisions and changes, inconsistencies, errors, even typos creep in. In reviewing the current draft now before the town board, I believe it's still in need of additional proofreading. There are still inconsistencies and errors between and within sections, and not to mention still some formatting issues and typos. I haven't done that complete proofreading, I'll admit that. But I have made some notations on a couple of the chapters. I can give you a copy of those. I focused on the land use chapter, since that's the one that seems to have had the most attention during the meetings and discussions, and was also one that I was particularly interested in. And it also perhaps underwent the most revisions. I hope that at least the most crucial of these notations and others that a thorough proofreading may identify will be corrected before this document is finalized. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd be happy to take those.
Yeah. Basically, it's a
Couple on the housing chapter and
Great.
the others.
Thank you very much, Helen. Appreciate it.
Um,
I'm gonna give it to you. Okay, well, Helen, you have tons of time left, so. Keep us updated on any topic you want. Okay, anybody else wishing to make their first set of statements? Either in person or online. First set of statements. Okay, then I'm gonna move on to second set of statements. So, actually, Rebecca, you have a first set of statements if you wanted to. You have 6 minutes and 18 seconds.
I mean,
As long as these things already said are in there, then I don't need to repeat it.
So, yeah, so just for clarification on that, your letters will be included. No, the town never does verbatim minutes for any public hearing, but if you have written comments, and the meetings are recorded. But I don't speak for the clerk, but I don't believe you're taking verbatim minutes.
Generally not.
No.
All right, I will. Go ahead.
Sure. Oh, your letters are put in verbatim,
Yeah.
so, but go right ahead.
Becca Schneider, 5630 Pine Ridge Road, Trumansburg. I have reviewed the draft Ulysses comprehensive plan, appreciate the considerable work that was done to create it. I did find it an excessively long document that was hard to get through, but appreciate how much work. And I really like that the public was engaged and their feedback was reported. My three concerns. One, although section 1 discusses the importance of the natural resources and the environment, including its value to citizens, the description really underplays the real importance, because what it talks about are being cherished by the community, the scenic beauty, wildlife habitat. But the reality is the critical role is what these natural resources are playing to our economic viability for agriculture and ecotourism. And so it needs explicit strategies to make sure they are protected. And there's not sufficient strategies in there. They're mainly things like education and communication. A good example is the paragraph. A single paragraph on topography mentions steep slopes occur of about 3% or more. In reality, the slopes are much steeper than 3%. They're extensive throughout the entire eastern border of the town and along the creeks. These slopes are only protected from massive erosion, gullies, associated sediment pollution, and there's a ton of information about this in photographs where it's happened, by the presence of contiguous tree cover. It's the canopy that slows down rainfall, the roots which hold the soil in place. Given we already have an increase in torrential downpours, it's critical these areas be maintained and vegetated and all development discouraged, and that was one reason for the original creation of the conservation zone, and the proposed narrowing of this is going to have serious impacts. The land use and rural issues section provides a lot of evidence for the importance of agriculture. This has been stated by other people before me. And the comp plan also states on page 199 that Ulysses is almost completely covered by prime agricultural soils, even if drained. I cannot emphasize enough the uniqueness and the incredible value that we have in having these prime agricultural soils. It's critical to the economic value to the town, both now and in the future. Other parts of the state and other parts of the country are succumbing to extreme temperatures and drought. The entire southeastern United States, anybody's keeping track, is in the worst drought in 1,000 years. Agriculture is dying. Ulysses will become, I believe this sincerely, will become the refuge for farming industry, a critical food production area, and it's critical that any place we have good agricultural soils and the water that we have be protected for agriculture. Therefore, I'm very concerned about the proposed housing plan for medium density housing, which would replace and get rid of large parts of our ag lands. I think we need a much more careful study of actually how much housing needs to be, where it should be placed, and put in the bare context of the whole county. Number 3, the new DEC wetland regulations protect our existing map wetlands. They're providing a mechanism to map other wetlands, and they're expanding the buffer width from 100 to 300 feet, which, believe me, is really unusual. This is going to impact any future development and really needs to be comprehensively evaluated now so we can get that set and protected. So in sum, this document is really not, it mentions natural resources and environment, but in a very thin, superficial way, and puts all the emphasis on housing and infrastructure. Instead, natural resources and the environment should be treated as the foundation and guiding principles for all the planning for the town. And thank you for letting me have a second sheet of it.
No worries. Okay, well, you have like 2 minutes and 45 seconds left if you want to take it.
That's the advice, thanks.
Okay, never know, you could squeeze it into 3 times. Okay,
Sure,
oh, sure, I can't actually read that, sorry.
that's, Inessa.
Oh, Anissa.
Alright.
Oh, you took like very little time, so you've got like 4 minutes.
I just wanted to, Anissa, 36 Washington Street. I just wanted to again emphasize my support for the housing element in the plan. 8 units a year seems like a perfectly reasonable amount to manage. I do think that medium density is important because that's how you can house people in a critical mass near transportation and other things. I really appreciated what several of the, actually everybody's brought up great points. But I do just want to say that humans and land do not need to be in conflict. And I think we need to acknowledge the fact that population will grow. If there aren't places for people to live, then potentially people who've lived here for a long time and really enjoy living here are going to get priced out. So I think the only way to manage this and to prevent other real problems that come with not having enough housing is to follow the plan, which seems sensible, do good planning in the future, and make sure that there's enough housing for people.
Thank you very much. Okay, okay, so Roxanne, Shirley, Rebecca, and Sarah, and Helen, if you want to, anybody else want to take some additional time? Or Richard, I already called you, okay, up you go. I already called my first round and didn't raise your hand for it.
Rich Goldman, 5664 Pine Ridge Road. Trumansburg, couple of things. One, I just want to reiterate that I think until there's a full board, you should hold off on voting on any zoning. It's just too important. We're looking 20 years out, and not to have a full board vote on this, I think is not appropriate, not the right thing to do. The other thing that I'm finding a little confusing. Right now, we average about 7 housing units a year in the town for the last 12, 15 years. That's what the average has been. It looks like what you're proposing with the medium density is about 8 houses a year, a month, 8 houses a year. So I don't see where the big push for density is showing up in the analysis of how many housing units are actually going to be built. I'm just confused about that. Because if it's only 8, if it's 1 more unit a year, why do we need so much land dedicated to medium density housing? There's something that doesn't jive with that. So I'd like somebody at some point to explain that. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, you have like 5 minutes left, so.
Well, the other thing I just wanted.
Yeah, there you go. Don't have 5 minutes left.
Is the regular meeting of the town board, so it's at the day of the election. So, and there was gonna be at some point, public questioning, right? Some public questioning for the applicants who are running. So I don't know when that would be, but I suggest we change that to a day that isn't the actual day of the election.
Well, that's our regular town board meeting.
Right.
It's the 3rd.
Right, but I want that you're gonna have, but I thought initially you were gonna have it be that the people were going to ask questions at that time as well of the candidates.
I think that will
pull up the schedule.
Well, we're in a public hearing, so
Yeah, we can
take your
discuss-
comments and.
I would just suggest you make that something to be.
Thank you. Okay, anyone want a first or second round? Go ahead, Sarah.
Just thinking about the young woman who's on Zoom and then following up with Richard's comments. The data is showing that actually Ulysses is consistently losing population. So it follows up on kind of where this demand for housing is coming from. But what I would ask the board to consider in reviewing the comprehensive plan and moving forward with any kind of zoning changes is that we, in looking at the housing expansion and whatever the density of medium density ends up being, that there is a complete and thorough analysis of what that looks like in terms of creating impervious surfaces, roofs, buildings, driveways, how many trees are being cut down for more houses. I mean, we just had 2.5 inches of rain over the weekend, and I think we all are kind of getting the message that things are changing. And I really don't feel that the plan looks at the impact of what it's proposing in terms of the environment and in terms of climate change. I just don't feel that, I don't see in the plan significant, analysis of that, and that's something I think we need to do. Thank you.
Anyone else want a second? Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for giving everybody more time. I just want to say that, again, the demographic analysis presented in the comp plan indicates there's little to no projected future growth. So there are, as people have said, there's a lot of inconsistency in what's in there. And I really hope that that's looked at again with the housing study and to explain it. And just to not divide people between I want housing, I want the environment. The point that I feel very strongly is that we need to think about where it is. Yes, we need it. Yes, seniors would like to stay here. Yes, we need affordable housing. Getting that is quite complicated. It's not just a matter of making a whole bunch more area in agricultural land where you could stick a house. And the worry is you make a zoning to follow up on your comp plan. That's the guidance. That's what you want. That whole area then has to allow for very small lots, dense things. If the developers don't come, you just get sprawl. And there's a lot of study in planning literature that shows that sprawl costs you more than housing does sometimes. So it's a very complicated issue, and I hope the board will look at it more thoroughly. And thanks for the extra time.
You're welcome. Okay, anybody else wish to, Shirley, Rebecca, Helen? Do you want to go again? Rich? Yep, Shirley, go ahead. You can have 1 minute.
1 minute, that's all I need. I just want to say that what Roxanne just pointed to is a perfect reason to look into the possibility of a permaculture perspective and approach for the development of the housing in the town of Ulysses. That's
Thank you. Okay, final call. In person or online? Okay, I will move to table the public hearing.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. The next item of old business is a discussion of the comprehensive plan. I'm going to take a moment to address some of the questions that I caught. If other board members caught questions that I didn't, which I'm sure is the case, please bring them up. There was a mention made of the reduction in the conservation zone. And in fact, the future land use map actually, the comp plan steering committee had it mimic exactly the zoning map. So there's not an actual reduction in our existing conservation zone or lakeshore zone. And the town obviously went through, and we heard from residents who went through a very extensive process for the creation of those lines back in 2017, less than 10 years ago. And they definitely do not want us reopening that can of worms and reducing or going through that. So the future land use map mimics that. So that's one item. I appreciate the opportunity to address what's driving the demand for housing. It becomes a mathematical situation. We know a few things. We're expecting that our population is going to remain stable and maybe get a little bit bigger or maybe a little bit smaller, but the projections are a little bit bigger. We know that the county came out with their look back on their housing development townwide or countywide, and county is far behind their targets in housing development since the plan was put back to 2017. We also know that household sizes are shrinking. So if you're going to maintain a population, not grow, not diminish, but you have fewer people in households, by necessity, you need more houses, unless you guys are all going to start sharing. And that's a possibility too, of course. So, new housing does need to exist. And so the current comprehensive plan draft is attempting to provide places where medium density can occur. Medium density, if you look up our current residential zone in the town of Ulysses, which covers a lot of Cold Springs, for example, Cold Springs was brought up, it's in a residential zone. It's considered medium density already. Not all of Cold Springs, but certainly a good chunk of Cold Springs, where we actually, the town accepted a park donation. So all the frontage along that area, and those houses have been there for decades. It's not, for the most part, it's not new housing. There's certainly a fair amount of new housing that has been built on Cold Springs closer along the corridor towards 98. So I just wanted to clarify that medium density is not a brand new concept in town zoning. It's in fact currently embedded in all of our existing residential zones. Where the proposed, and I said this at the last meeting, but I want to clarify because sometimes we have new people listening or new people participating. When the comprehensive plan committee discussed where to put medium density residential, it was placed along existing water lines. I think most people do not realize how much existing water is in the town, and we're looking at about a third of our population outside the village that is accessing public water. A lot of that infrastructure is actually owned by the village of Trumansburg and reflects water infrastructure that predates 1935. The village doesn't want to own it. They will not maintain it if there's a catastrophe. And every resident who is on that line, who's currently writing a check to the village for water, won't have water if that line is catastrophically destroyed. So any point past the point where it can be repaired, right? If it ruptures significantly halfway through, the village has made it very clear that they're not going to replace it. We also have existing water lines, for instance, down Falls Road. That reflects the where the second distribution line for the village of Trumansburg comes from Deganic State Park and runs to the village. So if you look at the future land use map, and I live on less than 2 acres on Falls Road. There's a lot of housing that has been developed on the southern side of that road in particular. So that's another place. Additionally, the town has been talking for, Michael and I talked about this years ago when MRB did an assessment, probably 22, 23, that there has been talk since at least the 1990s when I was in elementary school, middle school, and then high school, to connect the town's existing water line in the Jacksonville Water District on Cold Springs to village-owned line on Podunk and create a loop. Because what's happening for the Jacksonville Water District is that every single year we're putting out tens of thousands of gallons of water into the land that we have to expel in order to keep that line safe and the water safe. And water likes to live in loops. And I'm not the water expert. Michael's a water expert. Water does not like stagnant ends. That's just the fact of it. And the reality is the Jacksonville Water District, when the infrastructure was built for that hamlet, it was overbuilt. It is too large for the population that it serves, which leads to stagnant water, which leads us to having put in an aerator to make sure we were dealing with the chemicals and contaminants in water that you don't want to have happen, right? So just want to flag that there's already water running along Route 96. There is water connecting on parts of Perry City Road, the Van Dorn's Corner area. Like there's public water is actually in quite a bit of place. If anybody wants to sit down and talk to me about where public water exists, I would love to talk to you about it because it was a huge surprise to me when I got involved in town government of how many people are on public water in houses you wouldn't expect necessarily have it. So that's one factor. And let's see, what other questions? I just wanted to flag for everybody that Ulysses is a right to farm town and a right to farm state. And that brings with it all of its, choices and complications. But that's established right now. And the question about water infrastructure, and that came in the form of one of the written questions that Sarah, I believe you read. But I read it in the written version. Resident has concerns about paying for infrastructure out of their tax dollars that they won't benefit from. And I want to be really transparent. The New York State water law requires that it's the users, the people who benefit, who pay for it, which is why if you don't live in the hamlet of Jacksonville or in the Jacksonville Water District, you don't pay a water bill, right? I don't live there. I don't pay the bill. So I think it's really important. Your tax dollars are not going to support water infrastructure that you are not benefiting from. Now you can be a part of that district and not choose to use the water, and you will still contribute to it because your property value actually increases. But the general taxpayer does not pay for water infrastructure that they do not benefit from in the town of Ulysses. So let's see what else. What else did people catch?
239 review, yes, Roxanne, I think this was your question. The county has received the 239, we have not heard anything back from them, but they do have our documents.
So.
It'll be shared with
Once
it as it
it'll
becomes
be
public.
everything that we receive from any agency, Ags and Markets, the county, DEC will be provided as part of the public record.
Well, and access to like get posted or something.
Yeah, it'll get posted on probably our website and the Melissa's United website.
Great, thank you.
Sorry, I've got a kid on a bus texting me that he's gonna be home with we're at the middle school at some point. So I'm just making sure my family knows. Okay. Anything else?
I mean, I think there's a lot of things to talk about. I don't know if I necessarily.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff to talk about.
Questions that specifically came up.
Okay, well, we have Matt Horn with us from MRB. And I also circulated to the town board earlier a long list of amendments, 57 amendments that I've reviewed public comment that we'd received prior to today and incorporated numerous things from that. I've had some great conversations with residents, so thank you to people who showed up and wanted to talk about things. It's been a joy to do that. So Matt, why don't I turn it over to you right now?
Well, I would just, open by saying thanks to everyone who's, done a deep dive on this. You've heard lots and lots of public feedback, which is great. It's kind of the intent of the process. There's a number of ways we could get at your specific thoughts. The process basically from here is the town board owns the document now. It's responsibility for bringing it to final draft. As that comes together, we'll make the necessary edits and and prepare it for your adoption. But I think moving from here, and Supervisor, I don't know how you want to manage the input, but I would say similar to what Supervisor provided in terms of her requested amendments. If others have similar list, tonight's the night to talk about. Tonight's the first night to talk about.
Because I have a lot to talk about. Stay with me all night. Which I know we're not going to, but. Well, what is the sentiment of the board?
I had to look through all of these, but I did catch that some of them are consistent with some of the things that I've caught and looked at, but not necessarily written out like you did.
Yeah.
So I have little tabs on pages.
Yeah,
but I haven't pulled them all together in a list. So happy to walk through. I don't know if we want to go every single one because there's 57 right now.
Some of them are fast. I mean, a lot of them
we can go through them.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Some of them are pretty cool.
I was going through, so one of these is going to be to do another, to authorize you guys to, and that's the very last one, to fix grammatical errors and typos that do not impact content. Like, we know that there's going to be another touch on that. And so I'd like the board to just authorize that. But I would put, for Carissa's sake, it's easier for her if we can move through the document. I think we could group some of them because I've got, pages where we're just asking for the maps to, the resolution to be improved on them. But the first one that I had was on page 9, the bullet low density residential. I'm suggesting explaining it thus. Low density residential land use focuses on housing and complementary uses at a low density residential scale, predominantly reflecting existing residential uses in areas of the town without existing public water and or sewer facilities, and which are not anticipated to have these services during the term of this plan. And I think, and I'm making that recommendation because when the comp plan committee put their version of the future land use map together, there was a lot of discussion about who constituted being in those sections, and it was really trying to reflect existing residential units, not all, but in clusters almost of existing residential units that are in the agricultural area, because we have some, a town operated differently right, before we had mass automobiles. So there are clusters of housing because there used to be a bunch of schools that used to exist spread out throughout the town where, you know, kids went to little neighborhood schools as opposed to the consolidated ones. And so you do see existing, some new housing, but also quite a fair amount of what could be considered historic architecture. So that is my recommendation for an improved definition of what.
Are you proposing to pass 57 resolutions tonight?
Can work through them.
Well, we just got these tonight.
Well, I sent them out earlier.
The afternoon. We got them in the afternoon.
Essentially, we got them tonight.
Well, we have to start.
I mean,
working
because this is how the
Yes.
comprehensive plan finished, with like a whole night of resolutions being passed.
After a lot of discussions and public feedback. It wasn't just a blanket approval. There was a lot of discussions that we had at the last meeting about the items. There were some that we grouped together because they were either related or there's something that had been discussed several times before and it was more of a clerical or administrative review.
Yeah, well, some of these are more than just clerical reviews.
Well, we can go item by item and the board can act on them or not act. That's how we do things. If you'd have a preferred method of making recommendations to edits that you'd like to see, we can also certainly do that.
Yeah, it would be nice to get these ahead of time so we can have a chance to. go.
No, I'm saying you need to go through the document and make
Yeah.
your changes as I did. I'm making what I think are a round of edits that I would propose, which may or may not have the support of the board. But I think every town board member is going to need to do something similar. That's an only functional way to do it.
No.
And you've had this, as the public has had this now for
Month and a half.
month and a half.
But not this.
No, these are the result of me reading the document and proposing changes. That does not preclude you from you all reading the document and proposing changes.
And some of them are simple, it's just changing a word, adding a period. So I mean, if there's ones that you want to hold off on, we can table those for the next meeting. But I don't know why we can't have MRB start working on some of the typo ones now, just to get ahead of them.
Yeah, if you go through and do typo, I mean, because the thing should have been wordsmithed anyway.
It is a working draft and we're pushing them a lot, so I'm not gonna be throwing anybody under a bus, especially our consultant that's been supporting us for the last
Who's
2 years.
proposing throwing anybody under the
I'm
bus?
just saying, we're
I
not.
didn't say anything about throwing anybody under any bus. I mean, I take offense to that.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I received these tonight.
No,
I
we're
think
talking
I deserve an opportunity to read through them and not sitting at a board meeting when I'm trying to listen to the public.
I agree, we listen to the public and we will continue because we tabled.
Okay, well,
Public
who is throwing anybody under the bus?
This does not sound like a productive
Saying.
conversation.
No, I know, but I'm not throwing anybody under the bus. Where
Okay,
did
I
that
take
come
that
from?
back. I take that back.
Thank you. All I'm asking for is time. So it's just like when you guys finished the comprehensive plan, it was a full night of resolutions and last minute changes when it should have been being wordsmithed.
Okay, well, that is your opinion. And
Yeah, it is my opinion, and that's how you do large documents.
Okay, well, that was the committee that already finished up, and so that has literally no bearing. I am proposing resolutions. We can go through them. If the board would like to act on them, they can act on them. If you choose to not act on them or table them, we could do that too.
Yeah, I
But-
would like to table them and have an
No,
opportunity to read them.
we're gonna start working through them. And if you don't want to vote to move something forward, that will be your prerogative.
Thank you.
Okay, so my first resolution is on, as I already read, is on the low density definition. And you can read it here, you can read it here. I gave you my explanation. Would you like to table it or would you like to discuss it now?
Move to table.
Is there a second? Okay, motion failed. Okay, so I'm gonna move to discuss this. Is there a second?
Second.
Thoughts?
So all with what you're looking at is based off, just to try to clarify where low density residential land use is focused, why we picked the areas why the areas were picked as they were on the future land use map for low density residential.
Right, because I think the current definition is not accurate because it says that are generally outside the Thomas County Agricultural District
That was
2.
a comment, Roxanne.
And that's in fact not accurate. These are in fact many of them.
Correct.
But if a house is already there,
Right.
I think
We have to
recognizing it in the plan is appropriate. So I don't think this definition is an accurate reflection of what the future land use map shows. So that's why I'm proposing the alteration.
Can I ask a process question in this discussion? Just thinking, I'm wondering about this being presented and feeling perhaps like a couple dozen resolutions, each an individual vote. This is my process question.
4 dozen
Is it-
resolutions.
Is it possible that we could present these, we could talk about these changes and then resolve to make the changes numbers 1 through 13?
Oh,
to
absolutely.
Discuss
We
here
can-
rather as one
Absolutely.
resolution rather than 57, but I don't know if that.
Just like
feel-
just like the,
Yeah.
we do that with organizational meeting. We can
Sure,
close
yeah,
them
yeah,
together.
I'm just curious if that would make this feel a little,
And if there are things that we don't,
yeah. It allows
We
us
could
to
pull it
start
from
the
it.
list of minor and mid-level changes, and then we could, with fewer votes, it's not 57. So I'm asking questions as I'm learning the process.
No, we can absolutely do that. And the
I
other
don't
thing
know
is
if that
too,
changes.
this is organized in order as you go through the document.
I
So
like
it's
that,
not-
so
yeah.
I'm in favor of that. No,
So just so you know, I'm not trying, there is one place where, there are a couple where I've caught the same issue in multiple places and
Sure.
I'm flagging that, but
Yeah.
that's, and in fact, this is, one way to do things. So, well, there's been a motion a second on
Yes,
this
right,
particular one. Are
right.
you
Yeah,
okay with
yes.
continuing with this one?
Yes.
Okay, so thoughts, feelings, comments, suggestions, alterations? Liz, you were on the committee. What do you think that that's probably other ways to write this?
no, I know it was brought up several times about low density actually occurred in areas with agricultural district 2. I think correcting that is something that should be done 100%. Should probably been done previously, but let's correct it now. I think one of the things just in general, when the committee was looking at the future land use map, as Caitlin said, we really tried to focus on what's there existing too, not just what could be there in the future, but there are a lot of places that have homes or businesses or both on a lot of different properties throughout the town that were not reflected as residential. That we've tried to bring this more into part. Actually, in fact, doesn't look too far different, just some different colors. The orange is a little bit bigger, but there are homes, all of Cold Springs Road, there's homes on those properties. So we've tried to bring that into the consideration of the future land use. So I think this clarifying this density, low density residential definition kind of is in tune with what we're showing on the future land use map. They're not on water, and they're in more of the rural areas as opposed to being on water. So.
And what I heard that you're noting, and I'm not yet an expert, and some of these where currently your future has this low density won't be in agricultural district 2, right? Like that's its own problematic
No,
piece. Am
no.
I hearing that right, or is it the other?
No,
way?
agricultural district 2 involves a huge percentage. It's a state
Okay,
agricultural
okay.
district. And so this statement as it currently stands is inaccurate.
Okay.
Like it's just factually inaccurate.
Okay,
So there's 2 ways to go about it. Probably gazillion ways to go about it, right? I made one proposal. Another
Mhm.
proposal could be to simply delete in areas generally outside the Tompkins County Agricultural District 2.
right,
That's another alter. I bet that is the most problematic
yeah,
portion of it.
Sure.
And so I suggested, this as a rewrite of it, but
Mhm.
it's currently it's factually inaccurate. That's what I'm saying. And I was fixing that.
that's what I wanted to make sure I was following that.
I think the changes are simple enough. Straightforward.
Okay.
Just make one quick note, sorry, the bullets that you're referencing are in the executive summary portion of the document. This same definition shows up in the section itself on page 57, so we would suggest replace it in both places.
Yes, okay. So,
Page 9 and 57, you said?
Yes, page 57, the exact same paragraph appears in page 57. We just
perfect, thank you.
replace it with the language thing.
I did not do a control search on that one, thank you, I didn't catch it. So then I would move to amend that to resolve to replace on page 9 and page 57. The explanation. The explanation of low density. Did you get that, Krista? Yep. Okay. Okay. Well, I will wait for Michael before I call for a vote. But we can, move on to come back to this one. The next item is, on 11. We're talking about housing. So I'm making this recommendation to the goals section because there has been, I think, ongoing confusion over why we're even talking about housing. I mean, and why housing is a need. And I think it's really important to like put forward specifically that. So I'm recommending respond to community survey dissatisfaction with the range of housing options and available in Ulysses by providing sufficient sustainable and then continue with what's here. But and maybe that's not the most elegant way to do it or whatever, but I do think being very explicit about why we're talking about housing in this plan and what triggered in the public survey about this is important. And housing dissatisfaction was the #1 thing people are dissatisfied with in the town. And there's just, per the survey, and there's just, no getting around that. So I'm proposing being very explicit in there, which may throw into question whether or not that's a goal if you have that much explicit language in it. So I am mindful of that. So if there's another place that you prefer to put it, I just think we need to be really clear about what contributed to starting to have this conversation at the committee level. And then that was translated into the plan itself.
Is that language then? Do we want to discuss bullet point? Like, I don't know where we are. Do we need to open this one for discussion, or we're just talking about?
We could just talk about it because I don't want to take any action.
I mean, no, that makes total sense.
In the room, we'll come back to.
I'm wondering. I'm wondering about including the reference of community survey dissatisfaction housing options inside the housing description, which then lends itself to the goal being
Okay,
a
so
goal.
putting it in here.
Yeah, and I don't exactly know where yet, but I'm thinking the goal works, and what I hear you wanting to do is acknowledge that the community gave us this piece of information, right? And so that's our goal is based on community feedback. It could even just say based on community feedback, which references to something that's up in here.
Sure.
I can work on finding space right now.
So then we will come back to that one.
Third sentence maybe before going to help achieve that vision.
Exactly.
Your sentence in
Yeah.
there.
It felt like it goes right there.
If you're okay, if the board is okay, we can take the general direction and weave it in, so you don't have to do any writing. But if the direction is identify that this was a survey item that was prominent, and that's what drove the recommendations, then we can include it in that opening paragraph.
I'm comfortable, unless we see the spot right now, so that we're not building a paragraph.
I could also see it being added as literally the last sentence of the paragraph. Because this is all a little bit higher brow. And then the very last sentence could be the
You live up the date, and during this time period, the town survey provided guidance that housing dissatisfaction with options was a #1 concern. Then you get to your goal.
I think so I think that's a great recommendation. Okay, so we're gonna go back to that one. So just so we can finish up the resolution we had. So the current version is resolved, replaced on page 9 and page 57, the explanation of low density residential with the following. So I moved that. There was a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so, and now I think we can do exactly, Steve, what you recommended, which is we can cluster them. So let's discuss what you were just saying. So we're suggesting at this juncture, adding an additional sentence at the end of the housing paragraph, that, how about the community survey? I'm just gonna kind of rewrite what I
Sure,
wrote, the
yeah.
community survey.
You said the town surveyed, right? The town surveyed the community
Yeah.
and discovered,
Yeah,
dissatisfaction with the range of housing options.
Krista, do you have that?
No.
Okay, so we're gonna have Steve.
Try that
for
again.
you.
Okay. And I don't know the time period of the survey or the.
Well, it's referenced in other places. So
During.
it was, it was
Okay.
December, we were just chatting, so it was December 2024 to March 2025.
Right. So during a recent survey, right, or
During
the
the- I would say the
community survey, name the survey. During the community survey, the town discovered dissatisfaction with the range of housing options available in Ulysses. And that's the last sentence.
Yes.
Yes. So we're adding a new sentence to the last section titled to the first section titled housing before we move into goals and objectives.
So my recommendation is if we're doing words to them, Chris, so let me hear what you think. If we're making like sizable changes like this, I think it's easier on a resolution by resolution basis
Yeah.
to track the changes. But I think if we're making no changes,
Yeah.
then it's easier to clump them. Does
That
that
makes
work for you, Krista?
Yeah.
So I will move Steve's description of a sentence to be added to the housing paragraph.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this?
Just Carissa, you have that, right? Before we go to vote. Just making sure.
Not exactly, but, I will rely on the recording for that. I'm just still trying to organize this in minutes and figure out how this is all gonna.
And you're doing a great job.
And we would do a very bad job. Or at least I can speak for myself. Okay.
Do we want to table we have a motion in a second. Do you want to just table it and discuss the next one? While we wait, if we're waiting on just organization stuff or,
I don't think we can discuss it without Krista being able to listen to us discuss it.
okay.
So, do you want to take a second? Would it help if we give you a minute? I can go get myself a drink.
No.
Okay. Of water. Thank you.
Clarification.
Okay. Okay, well, there's a motion and a second. There's no further discussion. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, resolved. So, third, resolved, amend on page 13, the objective, work with town leadership to state the following: work with town leadership, key stakeholders and residents to explore options for expanding municipal water services in areas of the town that are appropriate for increased residential or business development. Particular emphasis should be in areas where town-owned or village-owned infrastructure is available and where replacements, extensions, and corrections would improve infrastructure systems. And
Improving the users, so I'm
Yeah.
not sure that.
yes, I think we should probably just put a period there. And that also fixes the type in the original.
Okay.
So I will move that. Is there a second? We can discuss.
Okay.
So right now, the current one is work with town leadership, key stakeholders and residents to explore options for expanding municipal water services in areas of the town that are appropriate for increased residential or business development. And I wanted to I think the particular emphasis should be in areas where there is existing town-owned or village-owned infrastructure, like really concentrating that energy where there's existing infrastructure. Not where we're don't have any I mean, I have no desire to run water lines out to the middle of the countryside where there's no existing lines.
And just another quick note. This appears also on page 187. This was the executive summary piece, and
Got it.
the meat pieces on page 187.
You don't worry about that. I don't think I did. I got something else on page 187, but.
So
Okay,
it's gonna say resolve amended on page 15 and page 187.
yes. Yep. And then it's putting a period at the end of infrastructure systems.
Yep.
Because apparently improving users is not, it's
Not sure that you can
not sure I
improve the
can.
users.
Don't think I can.
You might be,
That
they might be happy the way they are.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Any further discussion?
No.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Nay.
Okay, so, next item on page 19 and 248, and I did search this. The only time the blue zone is ever referenced is in these two places with no definition, so I'm simply saying we strike that.
That was on my list too.
Okay. So that one, I think we can group some of these. Two, resolved on page 2, correct the typo in the first goal bullet point, replacing it with collaborate with. So,
And that's the
Oh, yeah.
typo, there's a
yeah.
sneaky V got in there.
Yep. Page 21, resolved, page 21, correct the typo in the first bullet by adding a period between character and redevelopment.
Oh, man.
And then on page 22, where you have some folks missing in our acknowledgement section.
About that too.
And so I wanted to include Tom Knipe, who was on the board for a couple of months. I'd like to include town supervisor after my name. And we need to add Lucky Lucas for youth development, Lori for his administrative assistant, Blixie. I wanted to clarify that she's the town budget officer and bookkeeper, not just the town bookkeeper. So I would suggest that we lump those 4 resolutions together. Fairly
4,
minor.
5, 6, 7.
Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7 together. So I will move those 4 resolutions as a slate. There's a second.
Second that.
Thank you. Any further discussion on any of these? Did I miss anybody? I think that's the one we want to make
Those
sure
are the
that our
ones.
acknowledgements are
Right.
correct. I hope some future historian doesn't think we had like an overstocked town board. It just transitioned.
Just so all the board members.
Yeah, we did not have a town board of that many. Okay,
Do you need would it be appropriate to like add an asterisk elective in or for the future historians digging into Ulysses history? Right.
I mean,
put their dates out.
Because
the
I've seen
dates,
places where
like
that
the
is, yeah,
comprehensive steering committee, we have the dates for them.
right,
If you're concerned about it, you could have the dates.
right,
I wasn't actually, it
okay,
was more of a joke.
okay,
I
and
should
we're
not
moving on.
So, okay, do we have a second on my resolution? Chris, I can't remember.
I think I did.
Okay, cool. Okay, any further discussion? Not slate, okay. All those in favor? Aye, opposed?
Nay.
Okay, I guess a little bit. So page 32. Okay. So the second paragraph, so the first full paragraph, the second paragraph, the steering committee also developed a survey to capture a large population of the community that may not have been able, have the ability to engage in the event described above. So after that sentence, So finish that sentence, and then. I wanted to say the survey was widely distributed between December 2024 and March 2025 via mailings, posters, and the town newsletter. Did I miss anything in that? Matt, Liz, Bertha?
I mean, we
Social media.
Social
right?
media,
we mailed the QR code.
Yeah.
yeah, the mailing, that was a mailing.
Yeah, but
Mailings
that's
post.
not the students.
I mean, we had it at several different events. We had it at Winterfest. We had it at Stop Slam at the school. It was distributed by high school kids at the school.
So how about the survey information?
Yeah, it was like information about the survey or invitation, something.
Invitation to take the survey.
Yeah.
Link, what was a QR code? You call a QR code a link?
That takes you.
I think so. It says open link on my phone when I,
Okay.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know, right? So feels like it's a link.
The survey link,
Yeah.
that's how, the survey
Yeah.
link was widely distributed
Mm-hmm.
between December 2024 and March 2025 via mailings, posters, social media, special community events, and the town newsletter.
Social media is just, are you referring to town's social media?
Correct.
So the town's newsletter and social media? Because then it puts
Yep,
it, then
yep,
it
yep.
puts it to the, it's not just somebody's social media. It's putting it with the
The
town.
town's newsletter and social media.
Yep.
So I will read that out again. Newsletter, website.
There you go.
Oh, yeah, the
I was gonna
website.
say, we didn't get website yet. It was so many places. you
It was,
can't even
I
remember.
only remember like half of them. Okay, so the survey link was widely distributed between December 2024 and March 2025 via mailings, posters, community events, and the town's newsletter, website, and social media. I think we got it. I will move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed?
There is one, I got to get that paragraph. So, okay, this thing. Or reference. Oh, I'm saying no, we did comment before about reference to where the survey is.
Oh.
Okay, so on page 32, so after, where it says the, so a sentence after, add the following sentence after the sentence that starts with the comprehensive plan collected. Did I get the wrong page? No, I didn't.
No, I think
It's of the survey, no, the comprehensive plan committee collected
385 survey
Survey responses.
responses.
Yes, there we go.
But then
Thank you.
Want the survey respondents'
Yes.
age breakdown closely reflected the demographic distribution of the town's population.
So, because I remembered that after we did the survey, that the MRB consultant actually flagged that to the committee, that there was they had actually, Angela stated she'd never really seen, parity in survey results with the actual demographics. So we actually did have young people participate, we had females participate, in that range. We actually, so while it wasn't necessarily the largest survey pool, it was actually demographically, it was well distributed. So that was my intention with that. I'll move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Yeah.
Any further discussion on that? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Hey,
Okay, so this is trying to address the, the question I think that we have gotten, right, about, oh, thank you. Thank you. So I'm suggesting, after the sentence, over the next 5 years, which is the very end of the last paragraph on this page. So over the next 5 years, the number of households expected to remain relatively stable or increase slightly. So that's the statement that's already there. And I wanted to add, when household sizes decrease, more housing is necessary for the town's population to stay stable or slightly increase. So I think making that linkage that if you have the same number of people, but the households are smaller, it requires more housing. So I'm suggesting specifically stating that here.
It's necessary when. Something like that, no. Sorry.
Well, it's saying that the households are expected, the number of households are expected to stay stable.
Or switch your clauses. When household sizes increase. And for the town population to stay stable or slightly increase. Or is necessary.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm,
I want not space.
Well, you did it nicely. Appreciate that.
It's the last sentence of the paragraph right
Yeah.
at the table.
I think I'm stuck on it at the moment because we haven't talked on this page about household sizes at all. Unless I'm missing a sentence, like I've been reading it. So we're talking about numbers of households and population, but we haven't referenced what this sentence is saying. I think inverting it makes it feel a little better because it feels like we're introducing a new idea about household size, which has not been presented. I'll trust that it's true, but it hasn't been presented.
It's,
No, I think
it's in
Did
here.
I miss that?
So
elsewhere?
no, so it doesn't mean it's right here, but it's
Okay.
in here.
Okay,
Let me use my control search.
I mean, it's at the end of the second paragraph. It does say in part due to shrinking household sizes.
Alright.
Now,
I wasn't reading the bold part. I don't know why. I was looking for the details.
but I think we can.
I don't know, I just feel like if I missed it or
No,
it felt like it
no.
came out of nowhere, but it's been in the conversation. I'm just,
That's the only reference. There's no discussion outside of that.
okay.
Would you like to include that? I mean, that's something we could have a discussion on with the consultant next time about household sizes.
That's new information to me as like a human, like I'm just, okay, that's good. I'll trust that it's true, but to me, introducing a new idea in a clause of a sentence kind of. I pay more.
It's specifically actually in the document and I just have to find it.
It does say shrinking household sizes.
It actually, it also shows in the chart, there is. I can find it.
I'm not.
I remember reading it today.
This is not the hill for me, but I'm just, if it's in there and I missed it.
Yeah, it's gone from 2.7 to like 2.3. See if I can find it that way.
People per household?
Yeah.
That's the appendix. I've seen that number too. 2.3 rings a bell.
I don't think 2.7. We can flag this one and come back to it. I'm perfectly happy to do that.
If we could, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure. People that one.
It's number 11, I got to. I wanted to ask that question.
So we'll save that one. Okay. We're skipping 10 right now. So these are more typo, these aren't substantive ones. I think it's just more clarification ones. So, on page 11, to include town-owned after sale habitat, because we've done that, for the. Yeah.
Yeah. Can we on all pages, because I saw it twice where Salo didn't have town after it. And I was gonna ask that question. I was like, wait, make sure I'm not missing something.
There's, the official title is the Habitat Nature Preserve.
Habitat, so.
Okay.
So we will create a new, so habitat.
For which one? Salo?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's do a new resolution. Resolved throughout the document to reference to replace Salo habitat
Yep.
with, say it again, Chris.
Habitat Nature Preserve.
Habitat Nature Preserve.
Yeah, town owned after that.
Sure. And then parentheses town owned. So that's gonna be the revision for 11. Okay. So, and I'm wondering if we should say, in case there's any more of them, I can search right now.
At least one more.
Yeah,
Got it.
so, yeah, there's one, I only found one, County Fairgrounds. It was on page 66. There is one where it's called the Grassroots Music like site, which is fair that it's hosted there, but it's actually not the name of the property. So I caught that one up. So this one's on page 66 to replace County Fairgrounds with Trumansburg Fairgrounds.
Does that need to be specified that it's privately owned? Not town owned? I don't know. Should be referenced in the document.
Sure, because I think it's only really coming up twice, specifically. So Trumansburg Fairgrounds, parentheses, privately owned. We know it, but our successors might not. And then on page, if you want to skip to look at page 67, there are these mini maps that are functionally useless, in my opinion. They're too small to read, so I don't think they really help in any substantive way. So I'm recommending they get removed on 67. There's duplications and they're small. 67, 68, 71, and 72.
That's just the current zoning map, right?
It's the same map as on, and
Yep.
67 and 66 have the same map, the two.
It's just
sides.
declaration. that
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
could be there.
On page 73. Again, I'm just keeping going because I think these are fairly minor clarifications.
Yep.
We will stop at this one though, because the next one is, I think, requires some more talking. 73, fix the spacing typo on the objective. So the one runs right into identify. Again, not a big one, but trying to, if I see him, I say him.
Joe.
Okay, so then I'm going to move 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14 as a slate.
We're holding on 10.
Oh, no, sorry, yes, we're right. Sorry,
11 on
11, starting on 11, sorry, holding on 10.
The new 11.
Well, it's just a revised 11. Still 11. So 11, 12, 13, and 14, I'll move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Okay, so I'd like to discuss, so this is on page 74. And I'm just gonna cross-reference what I was saying, LRP 211, LRP 211. So it's the first policy under the objective that's on this page. So the policy states, work with interested landowners in participating in the purchase of development program a development program that protects farmland and sensitive natural resources. Coordination with the county, Cornell Cooperative Extension, New York State, and local land trust is key. So, where I think we need some clarity is I personally don't think in the next 20 years the town is going to be purchasing development rights. So I think unless that's the intention of the town, I don't think that that's likely. I do think it would be great to work with property owners who want to, you know, put their land in conservation, who they want to train their transfer development rights opportunities. But I don't think we're going to be the ones that are paying out any money. So I think my intention on that was just to have a conversation about what do we really mean by this? And do we want to clarify the language on it?
I don't know if I necessarily read it as the town purchasing any programs or rights to protect farmland and natural resources. But I do, just kind of reading through this again, wonder what the town is going to do for these people. I mean, if somebody was interested right now and came into town hall for more information, Chris, you'd probably point them to Cornell Cooperative Extension, but you wouldn't personally be doing anything. Can we change this where it's not necessarily work with interested, but provide information and resources to support landowners considering?
And I would also
Participating in-
include Finger Lakes Land Trust in there also.
Yeah.
As a resource.
So I think one of the things that was heavy when we were having the steering committee was, one, we wanted to make these objectives and policies realistic. Like, is it something that actually can be achievable? That includes whether or not we have town staff to support it. So we don't want to be completely overloading the town staff, nor do we have budgets sometimes for different projects. But I think if they come to you, we can have information gathered, so it's an easy, here is some information. Right,
So I think we should discuss the next one then, and that same thing, because that's a much more direct.
So this one, I'm gonna transfer to. I almost feel like that came up in the agricultural focus group meeting, where there was a discussion on, besides word of mouth between farmers, how do you understand who might be selling, what they might be selling, consider selling? Right now, for the most part, if somebody is about to retire, there's 3 or 4 people asking, can I buy your land? But maybe there's somebody new who wants to come in and doesn't have that same relationship with the farmers. So they might not get that word. So I think that was where that came up. We talked about having like a list or something.
The farmers can suggest that they should.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if we can. And I don't, this is definitely beyond this, because I don't know if we could do a feasibility study. I don't know what a feasibility study would show.
Yeah, but do it. Check into that, just put that as a place to check.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it was. So this whole objective is assist farmers in protecting farmland and keeping it active through financial programs. So part of that is where this one fell under, that was keeping farmland as farmland and making sure other farmers or folks in the agricultural businesses are aware of when property land is up for sale or potential sale and stuff.
Okay.
Like you could do it more and just be like support an ag committee that provides resources and things to farmers. I don't know, specific. Yet. Realistically.
Yeah.
So the objective and its current, I don't disagree with you, Chris, that, pulling back on the objective though, the objective is assist farmers in protecting farmland and keeping it all active through financial programs. And I mean, I think we could be a facilitator of information, but I don't think we can be the hub of, I mean, that's those, you see those in land banks, you see those in, you know, farm protection programs that are usually at a much bigger scale than our town is. So could I, because this is your area, agriculturally, would you mind coming back with some recommendations of how to tweak this?
Yeah.
Because I was not at that focus group. So, I mean, I read through the section explaining it, you know, we talked about the meetings, but
So that's 15 and 16.
Yeah,
No?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Okay.
So let's hold those two. You could propose amendments to that. Okay, couple more pages. First page of the housing section. So I'm suggesting, including the Tompkins County 2024 housing snapshot and the list of planning efforts.
That makes sense.
Um. So, so let's just vote on that one. I'm gonna move that one. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, so. Page 82, this is on the population forecast. So there's a section where the last section that's bolded is making their projections and the data, there's data that's cited. I'm suggesting adding a sentence: over the next 5 years, the number of households is expected to remain stable or slightly increase. When household sizes decrease, more housing is necessary for the town's population to stay stable or slightly increase. And then I'm suggesting using the data cited on page 34 that relates to household sizes and projected growth. So that was where I was trying to connect it. But I think we should hold this because it's really related to number 10, and those two are bound together.
Yeah.
So I think we should hold that for the next discussion. Okay, I think we can get a grouping of some minor things.
I just think you're still here.
So, number 19, resolved on page 84 to fix the spacing issue between transportation and safety in the first paragraph. Page, I'm not trying to rush you through, these are. On page 87, the resolution of this chart is, needs to be fixed. I think and then it should be number 21 should be on page 89, page 87, to fix the resolution of the two charts on this page also. Also on page 89 to amend the typo of 2000s possessive to 2000s not possessive, but plural. 96. We okay to move on to 96?
Yeah.
Amend the typo in the first line where the comma has a gap from the year 2023. Okay, I'm just gonna move that grouping of 9 through 23, 19 through 23.
23.
The typos. Move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. You're trying to catch up to everything.
Yep, sorry.
Yeah. Yep. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Resolved on page 101. So HP 1.2.1. So right now the objective or the policy is work to promote fair housing choices and foster inclusive communities that are free from, I know that's not the one I wanted to amend. Is it?
HP 1.2.1. Yeah, you said work to promote fair housing. You just said work with county and regional partners.
Oh,
So-
thank you. I was looking at the wrong line. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep, so
Everything's blurred.
it is. I've skipped, my brain skipped to the next one. Okay, so yes, insert work after with county and regional partners.
No, add with county and regional partners after work.
There you go. That's what I meant to say. That's what I said on in writing.
That's what it says, yeah. So it'd be work with
With
county and regional partners to promote fair
Yep.
housing choices and foster inclusive.
Mostly because I think that that's, practically speaking, that's who we would work with to do this. It's not an independent undertaking that I think is feasible for the town. On 103, objective H, O 1.5.
I mean,
No. No, the objective, not the
oh,
policy.
great, sorry.
To add to, and I would like to add a new policy. So I guess it'd be HP 1.5.4. To develop and adopt sustainability goals for new construction based on New York State standards. This is something that Kate Darfler recommended in her letter, and I thought it was a good idea.
And that's something that can be done with information that's out there and guidance that's already out there from
Right.
state and different
Right.
part. Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. And she wanted to be, because there's another spot in here where we talk about supporting housing that's more sustainable, like help meet our sustainability goals. But she noted that we didn't have any, like, nothing concrete specific to actually, like, it's kind of help figure out what those goals are. And that's why it's referenced in here. It could be rewritten in a different way, but that was the intention. Okay, and then HP 1.5.1, so it's the policy immediately after the objective we just talked about. So adopt template house plans to meet the town's sustainability goals and explore streamlining the review process for these specific designs. So this goes to the idea that, and other communities are already doing that if you have like pre-approved designs that you've already accepted, you don't necessarily have to go through as much of a rigorous review because it's already a design that's been vetted. Where one of the places, and we note this in the document, one of the places we do have control, some degree of control, is on soft costs and what we require. And if we can speed up the process, it cuts the cost for the construction, like the overall process. If we speed up the review, and it's not, when I don't say speed up the review process, it's not like cutting corners. It's already been vetted. So in the same way, like if the housing inspector, if our building code officer goes to do a home inspection for a modular home, it's a 1-day inspection because that thing has already been certified someplace else. So he's only doing some very specific things. Now you do a new stick frame build from scratch, independent boards all put together. That's a much more extensive review and as a result, there's a lot more costs associated with that than there are if it's a vetted design already. So I'm suggesting doing that because I think that is one place the town could make improvements.
I think that makes sense.
And then another one on 103, and then which is HP 1.5.3 to add so right now it reads extend services such as water and sewer to neighborhoods where housing growth is desired, but not to areas where land is intended to be protected. Allow dedication of privately constructed sewers if within cluster developments and I would like to add and other similar types of higher density subdivisions. What I did not want to do was get locked into like clustered subdivisions being very narrow. Something similar I think would also be appropriate. So. Okay, I'm gonna move those.
Do you want to do 28 and 29 just because they're
sure
font size?
That wraps up housing
sure
chapter. That's what I was. If you want to
Sure.
show those.
So standardizing the font on page 104. I noticed that the two policies are different sizes. Print. That's it. And then. I've had some great conversations with Scott Sutcliffe. He's the gentleman he's one of the recent property owners who put some of his land in conservation easement. I think a really good recommendation is to include a chart or a list in the appendix. So I would say a chart or list in the appendix that lists the privately owned properties under conservation easements and having them in a codified place. So it doesn't, someone could obviously put up something else in place and it's not on the list and it doesn't impact, their land rights. But I think having it in a single place would be really helpful to understand what, where folks are, conserving land, and being aware of that. So.
Do we have any concerns with listing the individual properties with, I don't know, in terms of, do they want that information known?
Is it public information?
It is public information.
It's public information already.
Connected to the tax ID numbers.
That's
We could
fine.
just put it by tax ID number.
Mm-hmm.
So
Let's list the tax ID number of privately owned properties. Lists only.
yes,
So it's tax ID, the tax parcel.
that's FICU tax. Okay.
And you're just thinking the appendix to this document
Yeah.
rather than getting a chart that lives somewhere else.
No,
Okay.
just adding it. And
Okay.
It seems something fairly simple. We have the information already. So it's just a matter of putting it on a new page. in the appendix.
Are we, and I haven't noted this, but maybe we do. Are we noting things that can be more information is found in the appendix throughout this report?
There's a
Or
lot of
there's
references.
there's like
here.
a couple of them.
Wow,
where
but they're
it's like,
probably, if you
should
see
we-
more,
Yeah, should we add, I mean, if this brought you to that thought, should we say a list of conservation needs, lands under conservation is in the appendix? I don't, it's just
Could we add?
putting it there, it's like, do we
Yeah.
wanna tell people it's there?
In the digital document, we can hot link to it.
Yeah,
Hot
yeah.
line.
Okay. I think that would be probably the best, only because I think that's how the document's gonna be functionally used.
Right,
It's
yeah.
much more likely it's that than Unprinted.
I think everybody wants to pull out this from the shelf.
I've enjoyed my time with it. It does not feel very sustainable to print it. That's okay. The only way I can edit it easily.
That's right.
Okay, so that's items 24 through 29. I would like to move those. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
I'm gonna do a time check. It's 9:09. If you look ahead, there's a lot that are still just typos, and if we want to, I just want to see how folks are feeling. We just have a couple of quick items on the agenda. Otherwise, we don't have a lot of discussion on it. I don't think there'll be a lot of discussion on anything else. So, but I want to be mindful of people. Balancing public, like your public comment, we also need to do public work.
Yep.
So,
can I just, clarification, when we're making edits, and I know we've made edits called out where like a policy or objective has changed, and we talk about it in the chapter and maybe even up in the executive summary, that same change will happen to appendix A too. Do we need to document that, or?
why don't we do a resolution? Resolve that when changes are made.
To language of goals, objectives, policies, it's carried through to appendix A.
There you go. Perfect.
I just was looking at appendix A.
Changes are made to say language, objectives, goals and policies.
Language of goals, objectives, or policies.
Because it's basically duplicated in the appendix, and we just want to.
Yep, yep.
Well, I mean, it is duplicated. It's not basically, it is
No, it is.
duplicated. So I think that's a great one. So that's the new 30. And now you've got to just, no,
Sorry,
that's okay.
I just was thinking about it. 'cause I'm-
Yeah, want to be that it's like 58.
But we already said it, so for Krista, it's easier to. put
Alright,
them all.
fair.
Yeah, so I'd rather,
If you prefer, I can wait.
nope, she already wrote it down. I heard her type it, so we're gonna go ahead with that. Okay, Okay, so then I will move. Wait a minute, we already did 1 through 20, so this is new 30, so, we can just keep going then. 31. Actually, let's do that. I,
I'll move
thank you.
I'll
Liz
move
moved, I
30.
will second it. Any further discussion on appendix A? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Nay.
Okay, 125. Okay. So this reflects my preservation. Right now, it says on page 125, town has the oldest housing stock after the region. Over half, 55.4% of the homes in the town were built prior to 1970. These homes have a higher likelihood of containing hazards like lead paint, radon, and asbestos. Homes built later than 2010, so then it's homes built later than 2010 make up a small share of the housing stock in each geography. I would like to strike these homes have a higher likelihood of containing hazards like lead, radon, and asbestos. I think radon in particular is not necessarily at all because that's a geological feature that happens. And there's things you can do with existing homes. So I'm not suggesting that this is 100% inaccurate, but I also think it paints a picture that there's something fundamentally wrong with older housing stock when in this document we are saying that that's an important characteristic of our community. So if we wanted to, if folks want to still include this somewhere, I'm fine with it being included, but I just don't think it should be like, this is very negative. And I don't think that that's necessarily the intent. That's not my intent.
Just trying to see if there's a way you could put it into a policy.
Because it's kind of weird right now where it is because it's in actually the economic
I
development
was gonna
section.
say, but this is economic. Maybe when we get to the built environment, where we talk about reusing buildings, we could add something that talks about providing information on tests available for potential hazards in older homes or something like that.
Yeah, no, and again, I think people should be aware that there's certainly risks associated with it. And I'm not trying to diminish the concerns related to hazardous ones, but I don't think it necessarily helps in this particular location in economic development. So, do we want to flag this and see if we can find a new location for the information? Okay.
Yeah.
What does that first sentence mean? The town has the oldest housing stock after the region.
Yeah, so there's a chart, the southern tier region.
Okay.
So we don't have the whole the percentage in the region is larger than the percentage in the town of Ulysses.
And I propose, I'll wait for my round, but adding southern tier up there, so that it's the same
Well, let's
language as the chart.
Yeah, well, let's do it now while you're here. So we're holding 31, the new 31. So the new 32 is add on page 125, southern tier before region. Does that work?
Can you repeat that?
Resolved, on page 125, add southern tier before region. So I'll move that, or I'll move that. Do you want someone to
I'll
second
second
that?
it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
Okay, page 134. Okay. EDP 1. So in this one, the policy as it stands, consider crafting new incentive policies that target businesses that align with the town's target industries and business sectors. I'm okay with that. But provide financial support for new businesses that create jobs in the town. I don't think that's feasible. I mean, I think that there are programs that do that and they do good work and, you know, startups and things like that. We have IDAs, we have EDAs. I just don't think that that's like a practical thing for the town to do. And it honestly, having gone through the ARPA process, I think it would be awful. It's just.
So you would just delete that whole last sentence?
Yeah, the provide
policy.
financial support. Yeah, because I just don't think it's. I think there are incentives we could explore, and I'm all in favor of considering exploring new incentives, and there might be new options in the future that we're not even aware of, or that are not, you know, possible right now. But I think that that's committing us to something that I don't think is feasible in practical terms. So I'm recommending striking that.
Are we then losing language where we're supporting, financial, I agree with you on supporting new businesses, supporting a resident with wages, benefits, and opportunities? Like, are we losing that supportive language? Because we can't, and I agree, we can't financially support it. Right, we want to incentivize and policies that bring businesses in that do these other things, like those are the types of businesses we want.
Sure.
And maybe it's a
a combination, but maybe we
Yeah.
could just combine it. So consider crafting a new incentive policies that target businesses that align with the town's target industries and business sectors, and explore providing support for, but just pulling out support. You can support something without like handing out money. Like,
well, an incentive policy is a support,
right?
Like,
so maybe
provide support,
just pull out. So in this case, then we're just striking financial.
I think so.
I'm good with that. So I will move striking the word financial on page, so resolved on page 134 ED-P-1.5.1.5 to strike the word financial. Okay. And then yep. So this one's to fill the Ulysses historian position to preserve the communities. So I think it's kind of a weird inclusion. It is filled, but it makes it sound like it's not filled. So
can you say maintain?
Maintain. I was like, you just say maintain the position.
And not saying like, yeah.
Actually, by law, though, we have to have like the space for the position, so it's not even. Yeah. So so maintain the historian position. I mean, we don't have to put money towards it. We do. So maybe maintain. Could we go to maintain? Okay. So that would be resolved on page 137 to so an EDP 2.2.2 replace fill with maintain. Okay. How about we just do those and then we can move to the next page so we're not popping back and forth. So
we have our right numbers for
33 and 34.
Yeah, 33 and 34. So I will move those. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion?
Confirming that 33 and 34 are adding southern. We did southern.
We already did
this is financial and maintain.
Yeah. Yep.
Just making sure.
Absolutely. Good clarification.
Know what I'm voting on.
Yep. Good show. Good to know. Okay. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay. 139. moving on to transfer. Got ahead of myself. I'm correlating what's in the text and Liz, you will remember this because we talked about this in our last comp plan committee meeting. So in the narrative, we talk about improvements, making transportation, roadway improvements to areas of medium density where we're designating medium density housing. And so I'm making that explicit in here because right now it says, I'm suggesting make necessary roadway improvements to ensure that traveling along major roads in the town, especially Route 96 and access points to the Black Diamond Trail, it should be
No,
is safe.
traveling is, yeah, it's. there's a lot of
Safe
between-
for vehicles, cyclists, and pedestrians, and I'm including, I would like to include medium density areas, as part of that. Because we do identify that narrative. So basically, remember what we were trying, do you remember? Yeah, okay, so you were talking, I interrupted you, sorry.
No. I just wanted to see where you were adding to.
Yeah, I'm like, where is that?
I would say, especially Route 96, comma, medium density areas, on the future land use map, comma, and access points to the Black Diamond Trail is safe for vehicles, cyclists, pedestrians. It came up a lot in community conversations and about improving, even a comment today, was about improving it, in correlation to the park and
Right.
the future park is currently in a medium density area. So that's my recommendation. Carissa, does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the resolution of the maps on page 151, 154, 157, 169, 160.
Yeah.
As well as the charts and the map on 162, 163, and 164, and page 180. Those could all be
Yep.
make clearer. So that is 3, 4, 6, 9, 7, 8, 40, 41. 2. Okay. So that would take us through resolutions 35 through 42. Any questions on those? I'll move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
On page 182. I didn't actually.
That's the one.
Yeah. And that's not. I'm gonna double check it.
Restaurants, festival, music park. Resolution.
And that's the only time I could find it. So I'm just recommending we replace that with Trimsburg Fairgrounds. Did you want to put parentheses privately on it? Or is it so deep in the document that we're probably fine?
Agreed on it.
I think we did, so you're right, never mind.
And we did Salo Habitat. I'm just noting above, we have Salo Habitat as well, and that we changed that all over.
We already changed that, yep.
Okay.
So I'm making that recommendation, that recommendation for clarification to what it actually is. And that would be resolution 43. Same page. I don't think Juniper Manor retirement community fits under healthcare. But it is nursing
They
care.
provide a service.
What level of retirement?
I think it's just,
Yeah, there was 2 sections. I could be wrong.
there are.
By age and income for.
Yeah.
It's because it's not truly a nursing home. No.
No.
So I
just the
don't.
residents.
Yeah.
My friend's
sister just moved there and they don't have any there, it's just.
All right.
Thank you.
Well,
Is there a difference between Juniper Manor 1 and Juniper Manor?
yeah, that's what I don't.
This is,
I don't think either of them are nursing facilities, but we could clarify that.
Not university home, but.
Yeah.
If there was on this is just, yeah. I don't know.
Just for curiosity, Three Falls State Park. Is it the number 3 or is it spelling?
And
out
I
right?
actually, it's already,
it's in this
Okay.
list.
it's in my
Oh,
list.
Sorry. I just saw that.
The weekend being very rainy was very good for, I wasn't joking when I encouraged my fellow citizens to cuddle up with it. Okay, and so I think we should also add local dental and optical practices to it
Under healthcare.
under healthcare.
Yep.
And I would actually direct the MRB to pull those.
I just say, if we're naming the others to leave out the dentist
Yeah.
by
and-
name,
Right.
you're gonna hear about that.
Yeah. I mean, Dr. Neal, because eyes are really important. So, so what I would say is like, we will go ahead and remove, to the best of my knowledge, Juniper doesn't provide that level of care, but if I'm wrong, and I will check tomorrow.
Quick Google search of their own webpage does not suggest that they do that.
Okay, well then, if we are wrong, we can fix it, put it back in, but I just don't think it really fits under healthcare. It does fit under something else, and
Sure.
like, so if there's another place we want to identify it,
Mm-hmm.
Affordable senior housing.
Yeah.
there you go. So that, and then we could do, Village Grove, it's Village Grove is within Crescent Way. I think that's it. It's a subdivision, and
Right, right.
that has supportive
Oh.
senior affordable housing also. So maybe that we do it. So then we could create a new resolution.
I wrote all the numbers down.
Or
No. And no, we'll just add a further resolved, resolved. Which is totally fine, because it's all in the same thing, further resolved to add a affordable senior housing,
Affordable and. or just-
affordable / senior housing. No, affordable and, just affordable and. Well, no, so you want to include affordable housing, not just senior housing.
No, I mean, we don't have to.
No, that's fine. I'm just asking for clarification.
I thought that's what we were doing, but
That sounds great. No, it's good because,
affordable senior housing. Because if we do affordable,
Right.
comma, senior housing.
we're gonna have to
of the
include a whole
list
bunch of other things.
other
So maybe we
people.
should just focus on the affordable senior housing right now. Or available senior housing.
well, I think they describe themselves as in affordable terms, like you have to meet income thresholds.
Juniper Manor.
I think so, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool.
So. And
So just
include
affordable senior housing.
Juniper Manor retirement community. And Village Grove at Crescent Way. Okay. Okay.
Can you read that whole for the result?
Sure. Further resolved to add affordable senior housing category and include Juniper Manor retirement community and Village Grove at Crescent Way. It was just on their website. That's how they describe that. It's a subdivision within Crescent Way. Okay, are we good, Krista? Okay, 191. The-
187,
Oh, sorry. 187.
something.
I wrote all over my,
Yeah.
so, ensure the permitting process for wells and septic tanks in the town are made efficient and affordable. Yeah, we don't do that. So
Okay.
that's through the health department.
Hmm.
So that's not something we have any control over. I mean, we could advocate for it to be affordable, but it's not. I mean, in my experience, it's not the permitting part is not necessarily astronomically expensive. It's like $500 to do a septic permit.
Mhm.
And that includes your engineering. If you do it through Thomas County. So I was just gonna suggest striking this because I don't think it.
By striking it here, are we giving the instruction to strike it later in the appendix?
We already did that.
And it resets the number count?
It will reset the number
Okay,
count.
I'm not leaving a blank for future use, okay?
Nope. Okay, then, sorry, now going to 191. So it's the first policy on 191. Continue to support the village in hiring full-time firefighters and emergency medical technicians as necessary. We don't have paid firefighters. I don't know if we want to advocate for the hiring of full-time firefighters. So I would suggest removing that, about the full of hiring full-time firefighters. Because this is suggesting we're already supporting it.
Right.
And I don't think that's where we are. I mean, I'm not necessarily opposed to having to explore that long term. I would hope not, because I don't know how we possibly afford it, but I'm grateful to our volunteer fire department. So I think that either we need to discuss this or strike it, or maybe both.
I mean, so it says continue to support village in hiring full-time firefighters, emergency medical technicians as necessary within the town's annual budget request. We don't have an option, right? They pretty much have given us a number when we pay it.
I mean, yes, and I don't think that's the relationship we have now. I mean, I've certainly pushed back on things and we've had things reconsidered and we've been able to lower the money in the last couple of years. But I mean, it's a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
So if, go ahead.
We just strike in hiring full-time. And we're just
Support the
supporting the
village.
village's firefighters and emergency medical technicians as necessary within the budget.
That's fine.
It's fine with me.
Because that's what we're doing, but we're
Exactly what we're doing.
not offering to help hire full-time right now.
Yeah.
So it's make village possessive because it's their firefighters, correct?
Mhm.
And emergency medical tech.
Okay, so you want to read that for Carissa?
Sure.
Resolved on page 191.
Striking in hiring full-time and adding an apostrophe S to village. Or the strike.
So continue to support the village's firefighters and emergency medical technicians.
Cool. Okay, 199 and 203 more map. Resolution issues. And then on 207. Didn't put in. I'll find it where I want to, on page 7, it's on EN-P-1.1.8. In collaboration with the Bee and Tree committees, plural, because we have multiple committees. It's not one committee that does both those things. Right.
I thought we talked about combining those.
No, never with the bee. No, natural landscape.
Okay,
Yes.
that's right.
I'll be coming at you with
That's-
that. Later in this cycle, there's only so many, unless,
Bees
there's
and
only
trees.
so much we can do in a meeting, so.
Bees and trees.
No.
No, the bee committee is our happiest committee.
Right.
I am not messing with perfection.
Most volunteers.
And then, 209. EN-P.2.1.
Okay, yeah. Expanding or replacing.
Yes, so right now it says explore the feasibility of public water systems in an effort to reduce use of groundwater and reduce environmental impacts. And I would like to narrow that to explore the feasibility of expanding or replacing public water systems in an effort to reduce use of groundwater and reduce environmental impacts. So I don't want this as a carte blanche to town support of running water everywhere. And then we'll finish up with the next two, because that finishes up the section. So I wanted to include Smith Woods in this list. We're already, so that's in the first policy. We've already affixed the Salo Habitat name, but I just want to include Smith Woods because that got added.
Smith Woods, we're not saying town owned yet because we don't.
Fair enough. Almost.
I mean, it's almost town owned as of the adoption of.
It is almost. I think we're planning will be scheduling the closing. I'm just waiting for final word on that. And then
I'm gonna change the document.
and then we have a the third one down is develop a master plan for Salo Habitat, which we're fixing the name to guide long-term care. And I'd like to add another one to develop a master plan for Smith Woods to guide long-term care. So I'd like to add a new one.
BEN.
Yeah. It'd be a new,
2.1,
yeah.
0.7.
Yeah, 7 or 8, 7 and 8, so you get both of them next to each other.
Okay. At 50 and 51. Okay, so that would be resolutions 43 through 51. With that is our second.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Did I get all my ayes?
Aye, sorry.
Opposed?
Okay.
Okay, 226. So I would, in one of the things that, Kate Darfler recommended, was, because we talk about it in the text about a climate action plan, is actually making it a policy objective, to create a climate action plan. And my understanding from her is that they're templates and guidance documents that we can use to do that. So I would like to add a policy. Actually, and I'd like to put it as the new the CRP 2.1.1. I'd like to make it our top thing because I think that will inform everything else. What do you think? Or is there a better spot for it?
No, I think that we should, but I'd also like, I think in the executive summary where we talk about and we highlight some of the goals and objectives from each of the chapters, I think we should highlight the prepare climate action plan there, specifically call it out there too.
I'm sorry, so say that again. So what would be the
just
I'm a visual learner and I just got totally lost. So where is that?
so in the executive summary,
yes.
under each of the chapters, we have goals and objectives and we highlight some of the big ones.
Yep.
I think this is a big one for climate change and resiliency. So
Yep.
I think we should just
I think that's a great idea. So create that as a policy and highlight it in the executive summary. That works. Okay, so the next one is, I would like to actually bring this whole chapter forward in the entire document. I would like to lead with the climate and change and resiliency.
Sorry.
I'm just thinking,
logistically.
is that gonna prove a huge problem to move a chapter?
It's not that long of a chapter and there's actually no figures.
The biggest issue just comes in numbering of all the policies.
Well, no, because it's all
It's all
CP.
SCP, right?
It's all
Yeah.
CP.
Yeah, no, so
Yeah,
there
I
shouldn't be
take
any issue.
that. And all the tables that we reference, like housing table H12, it's not 4.12. So actually, I take my fringe back. Sorry, I'm just thinking for them.
No, I appreciate you saying it. I didn't realize how much, it was one of those, can you just do this? And don't you just love when people say like, just do something? You're like, that is a lot more work than you appreciate. So now with that in mind, is that a reasonable request or is that like an hour's worth of challenges to move?
I don't think it's an.
Okay. Okay. Then I would like to do that. Then, page 238, community well-being section. I would like to amend the recreation department to the town of Ulysses Recreation Department. Over. Either we get rid of town of Ulysses in front of youth services department, or we add town of Ulysses in front of recreation department. So it's whatever you prefer. It's kind of redundant to actually have town departments and then add town of Ulysses. So I'm equally supportive of just removing town of Ulysses in front of youth services department.
I would recommend striking. Okay. Because it's under the heading of town departments.
Right, exactly. That's what I was realizing.
Yeah.
To amend, to strike town of Ulysses before youth services. Exactly. Okay, page 241. I am pleased that I caught this one.
Yeah.
So we need to amend the Boy Scouts of America to Scouting America. Is that correct? Is that
I
correct?
think that's where they are.
I looked it up, and I think that's where they
I
are.
think that's where they are. It has varied slightly sometimes, yeah. And everybody,
Scouting
half of
America?
everybody's shirts are still wrong, so.
That's okay.
Because they last longer than the name change has. They've been around since before the change. They're giving out free patches to cover them.
That's hilarious. Oops.
Like everything else, scouting, Japan scouting, it's all that's the international
Interesting.
language, yeah.
I knew it was wrong, but I didn't know what it was, so that's why I looked it up. Okay, on 245, I think I lost putting in I think I got really tired clearly and stopped adding in. So it would be CW-P-1.1.4. I am fine with the policy. I'm personally fine with the policy, but I do think we should strike Ulysses Square, in part because like that's just like calling just them out doesn't make any sense. So I think that's deeply unfair. And I know the tendency there evolves too, so I would just recommend that one. My next resolution was throughout the document to change the number 3 falls to the word 3 falls. State Park was already being included, but maybe we should just make sure it's 3 Falls State Park, which sure. And then on page 247, in CWP-4.1.5, I would like to also, as we're saying, we're working with the Trumansburg Central School District. I'd like to also work with the Ithaca City School District.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll be curious as we talk about this map and this plan, how many new mixed use space they overlie with the vagueness of the ICSD line.
Yeah.
Runs the town. Their PDF map, and I'll call them out here. It is a little fuzzy, like some of the ones we were replacing about their district boundaries.
Gotcha. I can tell you that I think the Trumansburg School District really wishes it had some of that lakefront territory that you guys poached out of the town.
Okay.
Oh, I'm just saying,
I threw mine, you can throw yours in there. Let's move on.
Okay, and then the final one, resolved throughout the document to authorize MRB Group to fix grammatical errors and typos that do not impact the content of the document. So those would be items 52, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so I will move this slate. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion on any of these items? Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Hey.
Okay, let's talk strategy for the rest of the meetings. I think that other folks, I know you have things you want to amend. I think having a working list is probably the most functional way to get through it. we had the language ready earlier. I mean, obviously, we made tons of changes, but having a draft of it makes sense. So please come prepared. And I also want to dedicate time to the future land use map. Does that make sense to do at our next meeting?
When you say
Yeah.
dedicate time for it, when you.
Dedicate time discussion.
Okay. Yes,
I think
because I have some questions. I think I'm struggling with just the visual. I almost wish, and I don't know if this is a thing digitally that we don't actually print, an overlay. And I know we talked about this briefly, of, comparing current, but like literally on top of each other, or at least on the same page is really helpful to me.
Current land use.
Yeah, like, or the original, like the last plans, future land use as compared, because we're hearing, and I'm hearing this changed, and then, well, it didn't, and there are some. But they're both right? There's some new lines but it's some clarification, so just curious if there's help in putting those two next to each other.
Yeah, we can do it side by side. We can't do it.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say that we don't own the original map.
Right.
Owned by a different firm.
Gotcha.
We don't have access
Gotcha.
to the digital side of it
Okay,
to do the overlay, but we could do PDF next to PDF.
So I would like to add to that. I think that in addition to that, I would be interested in including the 2005 future land use map,
Do we know where that is?
or is it the zoning map? No, it's a zoning map. I think
Yeah.
it's a 2005 zoning map.
I think you told me, you mentioned
The
this.
2005 zoning map, and also there was a map, Liz, that it's like, it almost looks like an aerial shot that shows usage.
The county land use data,
Yeah, it almost looks like an
the
aerial.
NLCD stuff
I think so. We were looking at it. You and I were looking at it.
back there. The
Yeah,
office.
yeah. I think having
Yeah.
more, like, include the future land use map in 2009, but the
Yeah.
current zoning map.
Yes,
Like having,
because the land use map feeds the next
Right.
zoning map, so having those two, and then this one will help me to answer and respond to some of the questions, like, well, this is changing, but. Well, yes, and or no end. As I
Yeah.
try to figure it out and look at them on different pages and things.
if we could have bigger sizes of those to
Yes.
look at when we have our discussion the next meeting, I think it would be very, very useful, because if it's possible to print those, or we can print bigger
Yeah.
ones.
So I was gonna suggest I can work to develop some, whatever the big beyond legal is. I can't think of the size right now, but work on those and maybe have them dropped a week or so ahead of the next town board meeting so that you can swing by and pick them up.
That would be great.
Yeah.
That'd be super helpful. Thank you.
That'd be good. Thank you.
What size are you talking?
11 by
Steve.
17.
11 by 17 or, yeah,
That's a C, and the next size up is D.
not that big. A little a little shorter than
That's a
that.
C, that's the next one, that's after 11 by 17.
So 11 by 17.
You don't need to do a zoning map, the current zoning map. We have big copies of zoning map, so.
Okay.
Mhm.
Although if,
Oh, if you're having for people to pick up.
Yeah,
it'll start to get cumbersome. If we do multiples of that size, but.
Right.
11 by 17s that you could stand on top of one another and look at it.
Yeah, that feels right.
Easy to
That
manage.
feels manageable. Right here, like it's right here, or it's right here, like,
But not a lot of resolution for a town the size of 15. You have a plotter,
Oh, yeah, yeah, we can print any
So you
size
can-
you want.
C size, it'd probably be the minimum C.
Okay, so
thank you.
bring your resolutions to the next board meeting, and we'll also plan to talk about the future land use map, see how much more we can work through.
Michael, what in your mind, knowing that it felt a bit rushed today, if I were to have a similar list, it would be much smaller because a number of these were.
I don't want them at the meeting,
Got it, so,
and the public should be able to see them also.
okay. I think that's
Right.
fair. Okay, so
Yeah, 'cause I need time
at the
to-
same
yeah,
time,
'cause
we
I want
want
time
it
to read
released
them,
with the
go through
packet.
them. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just putting on my mental
Sure.
calendars.
Thank you.
I would recommend also having a physical copy or a computer at the next meeting for everybody, so that'll help be able to actually reference the plan.
Can do.
Okay, next items up on the agenda, we have actually do need to add an item, and Carissa, but it came in, they came in today, and I'm sorry that I was distracted. So let's go through, old business. We talked previously, about a critical area, designation. And, if you recall, this is, the critical environmental area designation for, Smith Woods. It was part of our, and I'm actually looking something while I'm doing this because I forgot the state. The well, it's my email. As part of our donation agreement with Smith Woods, we agreed to go through the critical environmental area analysis. Thank you, Matt, appreciate it.
Thank you.
So this is the next step. At our next meeting, we will look at the seeker forms to handle these documents, but we're not looking at the seeker today. We're literally just scheduling a public hearing, and it's a ways out. And in part, I want to make sure this gets out. Feedback from their tree committee, things like that. But this is just scheduling the public hearing, and I also wanted to be mindful of we've got an awful lot going on in June, and pushing this out while still moving it along seemed appropriate. In the second whereas, I want to note that it was it came in, let's see,
May 7th.
May 7th, thank you. May 7, 2026. That was part of the board packet. It's on the website. This would be scheduling the public hearing for July 14th. So that's all it does tonight. Any questions? Okay. Okay, accept a motion to approve with the inclusion of the May 7th date.
So moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and then,
What did you just say, May 7th?
May 7th is the date the memo.
Oh,
and
I thought
the
we were
plan are pulled together.
hearing on May 7th.
No, July 14th.
Okay.
okay, next item up is the pride flag. We have a pride, or we have a flag policy. So for the policy, I'm coming to you to request to fly it. Our flag policy allows us to post flags for 30 days in honor of Pride Month, which is June, and it is the pride flag, not frag.
Not frag.
So
That's a catch. You're in.
So why do we
Spelling
need
mode.
this since we already have a policy?
the policy requires that I come to ask permission. We don't approve in advance. The town board retains the right to approve them every single time. So we'll vote on this every single time until if and when the town, and that's policy.
Is that the flag? This is the flag policy. So if we wanted to fly some other flag for a POW flag, an MIA flag for November, like you could come and. Okay.
So we have a list in our policy.
Right.
of
I
flags.
remember. I'm.
So the
remembering.
reason we have to come back is the board was concerned about front loading too much and saying okay to it and
Yep.
not retaining control. So
Yep.
this is what
Yeah.
management looks like.
Yeah. This is what management
This
looks
is
like.
what management looks like. So I'm coming to you for it. So I will move this. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Okay, and the new items, and I will pass these around and basically, is this an annual thing we have to do?
I'm not, I think for grassroots, yes, one of them is, there are two cannabis companies, and per New York State laws, they have to, get feedback and or, one of them wants. Okay, the Porterhouse needs to give us an opportunity to weigh in because they're gonna renew their license. And
Okay.
we have 30 days to give any comments to the state if we want to, we don't have to. And the second one is from the highly connected dispensary, which wants to be a vendor at Grassroots. So they need our permission to do
You
that.
guys know what these.
Is that out of Dryden?
No,
What?
Connected?
Oh, highly
It's in
connected.
Ithaca near, like, that.
Yes, okay.
It's down by,
Okay, yep. I know
So,
I've seen
like
that
Kim Market.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the corner house one, we don't have to take any action and I will not respond.
okay.
So there's no response required. If we do want to provide a response, I would need to be authorized to do that. The other one, does require, you know, basically a consent.
Is the corner house the one that's by Van Dorn Road?
Yep.
Yeah, it's next to Mama Said.
So we approve this. 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So is this 6B for the agenda?
Yeah.
No, is this the first go round with, or
Yeah.
with them add to, like, not necessarily with this, but with this particular ask? Is this, or are we gonna see 4 more of these for Grassroots, or are they only doing one
We have no
distributor?
idea.
We don't know,
And
okay.
this is the first year that we've been asked
That's-
to do
that
this,
was my
so
other
like,
question.
it's just the ongoing nature of the evolving.
Yeah, the evolving walls.
Yep, so.
Too many reasons for us to.
Neither did I. So I think I'm gonna need authorization on this one.
Yeah.
Because I don't need anything for this, so,
Okay.
You just won't respond.
so, yeah, we just wouldn't respond.
Right,
And so, you know, the resolution would be effectively resolved, to allow the town supervisor to sign the cannabis showcase event permit application for 3 to 5 holdings, the highly connected dispensary.
So I have a question. I believe, don't these need armed guards?
mm,
I have no idea.
It's a question, do they need armed guards?
Yeah, so I think the dispensaries have armed guards, so that might imply that you would have
I
an
don't
armed.
think they did it last year.
Were they at Grassroots,
They were.
but they didn't get a permit?
I don't think they needed one maybe in last year. I don't know.
So that may be a question, if they need an armed guard that. You know, would we want? You know, an armed individual at a,
mhm.
it's not a peace officer. At an event like that.
Interesting question. I'm trying to think down on the commons. I'm not sure that they're armed, but
I
there
think
are
they're inside, though.
individuals. Yeah, there are people inside the doors,
Mhm.
so. It's open during my school hours, so I don't have a chance to pop in
Yeah,
there to check it
gotcha.
out, so. Seems like that would
Not a field
not,
trip for
that
sure.
would not be the best field trip to. It's a whole different conversation with my students.
Well, it's, well,
Would think
take it
that-
for what it's worth. The Office of Cannabis Management says that New York State Office of Cannabis Management mandates that all retail licensees implement a detailed safety and security plan. Instead of specifically mandating armed guards, the state security regulations require commercial grade alarms, 24-hour surveillance, access control. So it sounds like armed guards are not mandated,
Okay,
to the best of my understanding.
Yeah,
yeah, right.
So.
it's an interesting question for Grassroots, the organization, you know.
Yeah. They don't give us any place to. Really. Those detailed questions, it's. It's a very straightforward Office of Cannabis Management.
What's our time frame of responding? So this one was 30 days.
Oh, she brought it in today and I said, what's your time frame? It was like, ASAP.
I mean, I wouldn't hold it up, but it just
It's a.
maybe, ask
Yeah.
Osborne's office or something,
Mhm.
or at least if they're aware of it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, did you get my resolution? I really hope I don't have to come up with it again.
Resolved that the town supervisor is authorized to approve the application for the highly connected to benefit grassroots.
Second.
So I would put in the cannabis showcase event permit application,
Yeah.
just for clarification.
And the showcase event sounds like we're gonna see more of these
does.
documents, doesn't
Sounds
it?
like a big deal.
We had a big cannabis festival here, remember?
Yes,
Years
a
ago?
couple years ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it didn't seem like there was
Maybe
many people there, so we voted they were gonna have.
No, I remember.
Okay, so I'll move that. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further comment?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next regular meetings on June 9th. Then we have one on the 23rd, and then July 4th is on a weekend, so July 3rd, our town building will be closed. I didn't include it in there, but we have the staff and board training.
Mhm.
Next
And
week.
yeah, that's next Thursday,
Double
June
check.
4th. It'll be ethics from 5 to 6 and sexual harassment prevention training and civil rights from 6 to 7. If you're already getting that training from your employer, you don't have to do it with us. You just have to provide us with your certification you might not do it until November, like it just needs to be done this year.
Okay.
So if you've already done it this year, that's fine. Or if you're doing it this year, it's also fine.
Can I follow up with you and ask about like the specific training language to match it against my?
I'm
School teacher.
guaranteeing you it's fine.
Yeah, I just wanna.
We're filling a state
That's
mandate.
fine, yeah,
So
I like to communicate the
Yeah.
same words, so that when my business officer goes, let me go look, they're using the same language.
yeah,
I'll follow up.
I'm sure you will, because it's a state law that requires all employers to do it, and so
Yeah.
we're just accepting we're
Okay,
accepting that your employer is doing their job to provide you with their legally required training, because it's very template-y.
yeah,
So
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure you have special stuff though, dealing with, youth and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
they're different templates.
Right.
An extra
Um,
punch.
I probably will not see you. I might see you. I might stop by and say hello at the very beginning, but I'll be at staff training that day, so I'll get all my training done
Okay.
during the day. So that's that, and then we had approval of minutes. So we had they were the May 12th minutes. Did anybody have any changes or alterations needed to those?
No, but just, I have copies of people who provided comments, written comments, those were all attached as to those meeting minutes.
Yeah.
For the public.
Okay, so I move to approve the meeting minutes from May 12th as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I don't have any board notifications. Anything else anybody wants to add before we go to approval to the floor?
Nope, thanks to everybody who's telling us what they think and asking us to share what we're thinking. So we're glad to have you here, and we're definitely reading all the stuff that's coming in as emails as well. So if you're not able to make it here, we're seeing it, and it's part of our conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, privilege of the floor. Anybody in person who wishes to address the town board? Let's go ahead.
We'll be short. I want to thank you again for allowing the extension of this comment. So it was very welcoming. But what I wanted to say was that in the future for meetings where there's gonna be resolutions that go through this document particularly. It would be helpful, and I feel like it should be available. I guess Michael was just suggesting that ahead of time in the packet so that we can see it. And also to follow along, I really appreciate that it gave it to us, but also then if you had some particular thing that you'd like the board to think about or be aware of, you could say it during privilege of the floor, but if you don't know that anything's going to happen, you can't. And so before the discussion happens or the seat, so I just would like to request that. Especially when things are in resolution form right now that the public has access to. So, thanks.
Anybody else? To address the town board? In person or online? Okay, accept a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Barring anybody else, we stand adjourned.